All right. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome to CamTalks. Alex Flewitt, how are we doing?
We is doing marvellous.
We is doing banging, bruv.
Yeah, well, I've got a London accent all of a sudden now, and
That's it. A noob to London, eh?
I am brand new to London.
You're brand new to London. How long have you been in London now?
It's Saturday today. 2 weeks today I've been here.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so let's just fill in the listeners at home who don't know who Alex Flewitt is, which is unbelievable if you don't know who Alex Flewitt is.
You don't know who I am?
You don't know who she is.
Don't you know who I am?
Don't you realise who she is? Alex, give us a bit of background about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? All that kind of stuff.
Well, hi Cameron, my name's Alex. I'm 35. I come from a tiny island in the middle of the English Channel that nobody's ever heard of. And aged 35, I decided to leave my entire life up and move to London.
That's it. What's wrong with you, Alex? You're crazy.
I've left like a tropical island paradise with beautiful beaches and a family and a husband and an amazing home. And I've moved to London like a lunatic.
Wow. Took the dive. What was it that made you do this? I mean, like, let's face it, you could have just lived in Alderney the rest of your life and been quite content.
I could have absolutely done that. There were a lot of mitigating factors.
Of course, yeah.
Mostly the fact that I never finished my degree. So it had niggled at me. And I don't have any children, so other than my husband and my dogs at home, I didn't really have a huge amount of commitment to stay put and not say, let's go and try and finish university. So I told my husband what I was going to do, and his first response to me last year when I told him was, "Are you
Are you nuts?"
Yeah, it didn't go down very well.
Wow.
And then he came round to the idea. I got him good and drunk, and he came round to the
That's
idea.
it.
It's the way to his heart. And he said, okay, go for the audition. Because it's a music university, so I had to go and audition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I wanted to go and be a singer.
Wow, so you literally had to get on a plane, come to London,
Yeah.
do an audition, go back on the plane, back to Alderney, and then you found out that you've got the place.
I found out straight away.
Wow.
So yeah, I did the audition, and they said, "Yep, that's great. Thank you very much. You can come."
See you in September.
Yeah, I think I probably tick a lot of boxes in the sense that I'm a mature student. I'm international to a degree.
Diversity funding.
So I'm like, cheers, thanks for letting me in. Phoned my husband, and he said, okay then, well, I've got to go. And I was like, right, that's not gone down well. It's been a really tough year.
And how long's the course? This isn't forever, right?
I'm here for 1 year.
Okay.
At the moment.
Well, that's great. 1 year's fine.
1 year is easy peasy.
Come on, Lee. What are you on about? She'll be back before you know it.
Oh, honestly, he's coming up in 3 weeks to see me because he loves London.
I love it.
But he lived in London 30 years ago. He doesn't want to do that again. And because we're of differing ages, he's 27 years older than me, I was just like, ooh, is this all there is? Am I just going to stay in Alderney and work as a marketer? I don't think that's enough. I think I need to just try and see if I can become a voiceover artist, a backing singer, duetting with Sting. You know, it's nice to have goals. Sting,
if you're listening to this, Sting, we need you, lad.
Sting, call me.
Well, it's interesting because you've been on Alderney your whole life, right?
All my life.
Your entire life.
I wasn't born on Alderney, but I was born in Guernsey,
right.
So just next door, and I've lived there until I did my A-levels. So I was there until I was 16, moved away to Guernsey for 2 years, moved back, moved to Cardiff, went to university there for a couple of years, came home, met my husband at 19, and that was it.
Big house, white picket fence.
Oh,
You
yeah.
made your own house, right?
We built our own home.
Jesus, Alex, you've literally done a lifetime's work right now.
And the ironic thing is, most people say to me, "Oh, you've just done this all back to front. You've lived your life back to front. You at 19 got married, built the house, got the dogs. You know, the 2.4 dogs." Because we don't do kids, but you know,
cute dogs as well.
They are really cute.
Oh, they're so cute.
I miss them. I miss them a lot. But you know, we did everything back to front, and I suppose you can't help who you fall in love with, and I have no regrets at all. That you know, I met Lee when I was 19 and he was 46.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, how was that at the time?
I was nuts about him. Just totally nuts. as soon as I saw him, I was like, yeah, totally fancy you. He looks a bit like David Bowie and Gordon Ramsay mixed together. So
But you'll love that.
so that worked for me.
Wow.
I just really liked him, and I never thought it was seriously going to go anywhere. And then, of course, it did. And 15 years later, we're happily married.
But what was the reaction, at the beginning? Because
to our relationship?
Yeah, to your relationship.
Okay, so you live on an island. It's 3 miles long. It's got 2,000 people on it. And all of a sudden, somebody sees you out having drinks with a very much older than you man.
A mature man.
Well, I wouldn't call him mature. But somebody much older than you, and I'm 19 and he's 46, and we're out in the pub together and everyone's going, is that what I think that is? And it's amazing how on such a small island, which I love dearly, everybody has an opinion. Mm-hmm. And if they don't tell it to you directly, you'll hear about it elsewhere.
Yes.
It was hard. My mum was concerned. But now, within about 6 weeks, everybody realised that actually we were a really good match. And it worked out really, really well. And we're great. Because,
you obviously grew up on an island with people of all ages. So you're not really... What's the word? You've hung around with people at different ages your whole life, so it's not as a big a deal as it is in the UK, where you kind of stick to groups of your own age.
So I'm 35. My 2 best girlfriends are both in their early 50s. It doesn't equate to me that I always feel much older than my years, I suppose. Mm-hmm. But now I'm back at university with all these 18-year-olds.
How's that? How's being back in the fray with a bunch of young'uns?
2 really mixed views. The first day, I met a really nice, mature student who's about my age. And I thought, oh, this is great. I've met other people my age that are breaking free of their lives and doing what they really want to do. That's fantastic. I feel like I totally fit. And then the next day, I met this gorgeous 18-year-old girl, and she was like, will you be my mum?
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I'm torn between being 18 and 35. And I was like, make sure you charge your phone. Let me know when you get there. I'm doing the full mum thing.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to be here.
But you get that kind of mentality when you grow up on an island where you do know everyone. You literally know everyone, right?
Every single person.
And if you don't know them, it's purely because they're just tourists.
It's scandal.
Isn't it weird when...
Did you see that man walk down the street the other day?
Didn't even say hello to anyone.
Did you know who he was? He had a beard. Like brown eyes. Do you know him?
He just walked straight past us. We said hi.
Must be new.
Must be a bloody tourist. But that's what I love about Alderney, though, isn't it? Is that so ever since, I was young, you grew up and you say hello to everyone. Hello. You do that around here, Alex. And I'm afraid you're going to find yourself in a very messy mess.
So I'm living in Wimbledon. And it's lovely. I'm very grateful to be living in Wimbledon with a lovely friend. And it's a great place to be. It's really close to uni for me, so it's ideal. I think I've probably got the shortest commute out of everybody I know in London. I'm walking through the park every morning. I found Wimbledon Park. I go to the Common. I'm trotting around. I'm wombling.
Wimbledon.
I'm wombling around, having a lovely time, mostly singing songs by Mike Batt. And every time I see someone with a dog, I look at the dog with doe eyes, and then I look up and smile, and then I get this. Don't look at my dog.
Yeah, and don't pet my dog.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of touching them because people just think I'm the park weirdo.
But that's weird though, isn't it? Because, in Alderney, literally, you see a cute dog, you have to pet it. We don't see many cute dogs apart from your own ones. So, and then you come to London where we have a vast amount of dogs.
I'm really naughty. I just want to say hello to everybody and smile. It's surprising, though, how many people actually smile back.
Yeah,
it's really
absolutely.
pleasant.
But listen, don't let that, put you off, because the thing is, you have to develop this thick skin in London. And I remember because I was based in Manchester for 8 years, and Manchester is so loving and everyone wants to say hello. Come down to London, you get this horrible cold shoulder. And all I can say is don't buy into it.
Oh, I'm not offended at all. Don't make eye contact on the tube.
No,
I know that one.
But just don't be brought down by it.
No.
Don't let yourself who you are and you want to talk to people.
I'll still say hello to people. Yeah? I'll still smile.
The weirdest thing I saw, I was so cute, right? I was on the tube the other day and I saw a guy flirting with a girl on the tube, and I was like, what's he doing? Oh my God, this is awkward, And he's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, this is awkward.
You're not from round here.
Yeah, and of course he makes a joke to her, and she responds really well, and I'm like, oh, actually. actually, she likes this. Go on, mate. Go on.
Did you think it was some sort of strange social experiment?
That's what I thought. I thought something was going on.
Someone's filming this.
Anyway, in the end, he asked for her number, and she gives it to him.
On the tube.
On the tube.
But isn't that like the best story to tell your grandkids?
Beautiful. It was so. It's like everyone on the tube felt this magic as well. We were all like, go, do it. And,
I like a romantic story.
Yeah, definitely. But you'll experience that a lot on the tube, although you'll also experience 90% of the time just cold, just like no one talking.
I'd never feel cold on the tube. I don't know if it's my age, but I swear to God, it's so hot in London.
It's so hot in London.
I can't breathe. I'm so glad I'm not here during the summer.
It's about 3 degrees warmer because of the pollution. We have our own microclimate, which is an interesting fact. Yes.
Love the smog.
But also around 10,000 people die per year because of the air pollution. That's down to all sorts of factors.
As a singer, I've really struggled coming here. I'm already quite husky.
Yes.
Which is great for my voiceover.
I've got it. I've just had an idea. Alderney Air. We can sell Alderney. Yeah, we can bottle Alderney Air and sell it to the singers in London.
I need something. I need some fresh air going on.
But that's the thing, right? Because in Alderney, everything's fresh. Everything, the milk, the butter, the fish, the food, everything's fresh. When you're in London, when you have to go and eat, when you have to feed yourself, you're a bit like supermarket, or you know, are you a bit?
There's so much choice. But it's not as convenient as I thought it was going to be. Although there is an M&S near my tube station.
Fancy.
Other supermarkets are available. And I find that as a little country bumpkin girl, to see like a big shiny supermarket, that's just like heaven to me.
Yeah.
It's great.
I'm
I won't get
surprised we don't have an M&S in Alderney by now.
I think we used to a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah, there was something,
No way.
some affiliation. Yeah.
Well, Alderney used to be a lot of things, didn't it?
I think it's very easy to get bogged down in the good old days and what something used to be. The lovely thing about Alderney is it's very nostalgic anyway. It's like stepping back in time 30 years.
Yes.
We don't wear our seatbelts. We don't lock our front doors. It's a 5-minute walk to the beach. You don't have to think about... I remember one Alderney week, which is like our big festival week. I'd left my iPhone, my purse and my car keys on the passenger seat of my car, which was a soft top convertible roof with the roof down in the middle of the busiest tourist week of Alderney summer. And I went up the next morning and there it all was, hadn't been touched. It's unheard of anywhere in the world that would be the case.
Well, people trust people there, right? Like, this is the worst thing ever, right? But essentially, if your car gets stolen, it's not stolen. Someone just needed to use it.
Someone's borrowed it, yeah.
Someone's borrowed your car.
I really couldn't be bothered to walk to the quarry party, so I just thought I'd get in the car.
That's it. Sorry.
And that's fine. I think it's very difficult I think it's very easy to get bogged down in things ain't what they used to be. And you can apply that to anything. You can apply that to Brexit. You can apply that to, everything in the world. And it's of a concern.
Yep, yeah.
But with somewhere like Alderney, you're in a lost little fantasy land for a bit, and it's very easy to get caught up in the locality, the gossip,
It's the change. When things change, it's really obvious.
People don't like change.
Don't we know that, hey?
I love change.
Yeah, but this is the thing, is that when you have a small island with a community that's so tight-knit, and let's face it, an ageing population, they're not getting any younger, change to them isn't what they want,
Absolutely.
Preservity. Just preserve everything we have, including the airline. Dare we even talk about the airline? That's probably the most divisive. I wouldn't even say divisive because everyone hates them, but
it's just such a shame that it's as bad as it is at the moment. But it's a managerial thing as opposed to a ground staff thing. All the people that work for Alderney are fantastic human beings. They want an easy life. They want us to all go away on time and travel how they want to travel. Alderney's a real contentious issue, and I'm very grateful that they still let me fly after.
But it's making a massive impact with people's lives in Alderney. Not even just the.
We need to be able to get on and off the island via air. This weekend, the last rotations of our summer ferry service have been cancelled because the weather is too bad to sail. We've got some of the strongest waters around us in Alderney. Tidally, they're petrifying.
But what is it about Alderney that makes them ill-equipped to handle the...
I don't even think it's the choice of aircraft. I just think it's unfortunate that the aircraft that were purchased are probably not as
not fit for purpose.
Healthy as they should be, not as young as they should be. I think there was a real contentious issue in them purchasing the Dornier, but that was probably the best aircraft at the time. Our runway's not long enough to have bigger aircraft. To extend the runway would cost a fortune. Do we want to extend our runway?
God, no.
Is there a way around this? Do Guernsey states want us to go via Guernsey?
Oh, well, no, that is a big issue, right? So there's really only one side when it comes to Aurigny and Alderney, but Aurigny and Guernsey.
Aurigny is owned by the states of Guernsey.
But this is ridiculous, Alex. How? I mean, this is like the biggest rivalry I've ever heard that has got really no real grounds to it. It's like, oh well, we're owned by them and our states members, they get on with them, and it's pathetic.
And it's so hard for Alderney and Guernsey because Guernsey are getting a bum deal as well. We mustn't forget that Guernsey are also having a pretty rubbish service. It's expensive to fly. All my friends that I've made at university, they're like, "Oh, your island sounds amazing. Can I come and stay?" I'm like, "You can come and stay.
Yeah, if you get there.
Have you got a spare £400 and 10 days?" Either side of your holiday to wait. And this is the worst thing because when I was working for Alderney Tourism, to encourage people to come, if everything was running to time and you could get there, and you can excuse the weather, if it's bad weather, that's okay, you understand. You don't want to fly in bad weather.
No.
But if it's gone tech for the 100th time, if actually they've delayed you or they've cancelled you or they're not going to cover putting you up overnight, and Guernsey get a bum rap, we get a bum rap because all Guernsey people think Alderney are moaning.
Right,
and constantly moaning, but they don't understand that our service is completely different. You get a lot of comments from people in Guernsey saying, ill-educated people saying, "Well, get your own airline. Hang on a minute, this was our airline."
I mean, literally, Aurigny
means Alderney.
Jesus, there you go.
So,
but the new marketing for Aurigny's funny because it says Guernsey's airline on it.
That's what they call it. Yeah, Guernsey's airline.
It's unbelievable.
And technically, Alderney is Guernsey because we are part of the bailiwick of Guernsey.
Right.
If you put the word bailiwick on something, it's not going to make any sense.
No.
They don't like to use the term Aurigny because they don't think from a marketing perspective it explains where they fly to.
And no one's heard of Alderney. So you put Alderney on a big poster.
To be honest, no one's heard of Guernsey either.
Well, you'd be surprised because actually in London, like when I have to talk about Channel Islands, they're like, "Oh, Channel Islands." I'm like,
I just
Guernsey,
say, Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey.
Yeah, they know
one,
Jersey, right? But this last couple of weeks when I've said, "Oh, like Jersey and Guernsey," they're like, "Jersey?"
Yeah, a little
and
bit.
a lot of them know Sark. They're like, "Is that the one with no cars?"
There you go.
It's
Maybe
funny,
we should get rid of all the cars on Alderney and just, No, but this is the thing, right, is that every island is going to suffer through problems like that because, I mean, we suffer through problems like that in the UK where we have loads of services, whether it's trying to get trains and stuff up north, whatever it is, there's always going to be issues. The biggest problem I see on Alderney is the fact that it's like a knock-on effect, It's like the airline has a few problems. That means that the family doesn't want to come again. That family doesn't want to come again. They don't rent out that house again. That house then is going to be left, no one in it.
They come for a week self-catering and you've lost all the income into the local farm shop, all the income into the local pubs, all the income into the activities, the wildlife
I remember when there was
trust.
how many pubs were there on Alderney?
I think 15 or 16 at one point.
And now how many do we have?
It was the most pubs within a square mile in the UK or something.
That should be a world record. That's amazing,
It's
isn't it?
nuts, isn't it?
But now we have what? We have like the Georgian, we have the Marais, we have the Divers, the Brady.
Coronation campaign.
Yeah, we threw out a fair few.
We've got a few. But everybody, I mean, I think it would be amiss to say that everybody is certainly feeling the pinch. Everyone is struggling.
Right, yeah.
Mostly due to our transport issues. But it's down to Alderney to do something about it as much as it is down to Guernsey.
I like that.
We need to be as proactive as possible, and we can sit there being keyboard warriors all day, but we need to go to the source of the problem or to the problem solvers and say, look, we need to bombard them with, this is not acceptable. We need your help. Please help us or do something about this now.
Yep,
because we've been talking about this for 15
well, I mean,
years.
we talk a lot in Alderney, right? I mean, our pub talk, that kind of groupthink is horrendous. And I think that's what's got us into this mess because essentially the way that groupthink works is that you go into the George and you start talking about Aurigny, you then go down the sailing club and guess what you're talking about? Aurigny.
But the thing is, this is where you get cross-communication, you get crossed wires, and then the rumour mill starts. And this is why people in Guernsey think, well, hang on a minute, why should we provide Alderney with a service because they're moaning ninnies or they don't pay the tax? And I'm like, hang on a minute, we're all taxpayers, we do contribute. But of course there's 2,000 of us and Guernsey Guernsey look at it as, well, they get a hospital and they get the medical flights. And, imagine if you had cancer and you lived on Alderney and you were poorly and you had to go to Guernsey for chemotherapy. You then get told at the airport, you've had a day of chemo, you want to go home to your own bed. Sorry, flight's gone tech. Anybody in Guernsey could just get in the car and go home. And we don't have, and that's one of the downsides perhaps of living on Alderney. We're heavily reliant on that transport link to Guernsey and to Southampton. They are lifeline links. There is no doubt about it. We would lose so many island businesses if we lost the Southampton to Alderney direct route. If we started going via Guernsey, you've lost a whole business day, let alone the fact that you already have to plan maybe 2 or 3 days to go in advance, 2 or 3 days. You can't get your luggage on the same flight that you're on.
But this is how are we actually supposed to deal with this when, I mean, the biggest problem is that Alderney, even though it's state owned, it's kind of, it's like a corporation. We kind of blame them for, we blame them for not putting on good service.
We need to be proactive.
But Alderney itself has not done itself any favours. I mean, we look at case studies like Dubai and how it didn't even exist. And then one day they decided we're going to create the mega city of the future. We're going to invite all of these influencers. God, Alderney's just had its first influencer come and visit. I thought it's brilliant.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Well, of course, this is the problem with influencers these days is that you have to have thousands of. This is the thing, right? So this guy has a couple of 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Great.
So great, he can record some great content, but it's just not enough.
You could get Mrs. Hinch, right? Mrs. Hinch is she's like my Insta porn for me.
Wow.
She's like the best thing ever. A lot of people go, oh, not that bloody woman. I love her because I find her fascinating from a marketing perspective. She has got the most natural following. She's got the most, her followers, the engagement is the most genuine engagement that you could possibly get.
Interesting.
We could get her to Alderney. It might encourage a few people to think, okay, I'll come to Alderney. Mm-hmm. And then they see how much it is.
Yes.
And then they see how difficult it is to get there. And before you know it, you can have all the influencers in the world. You need to make Alderney more accessible.
That's it.
And then you get
But this is the problem, it's a chicken and egg, right? Why would an airline like Alderney actually invest in new planes?
We need Richard Branson.
Look, I mean, essentially, I said this about 7 years ago to the then president, Stuart Trout, but I said, look, I'm on Alderney's side here. It's like, why the hell should they invest in this little island? And it was like, oh, how could you say that, Cam? I'm like, well, because if they're a business and they're trying to operate at a profit.
I think that's what they need to determine. And this is what's been said by the states of Guernsey. They need to either decide, are we an enabler for the bailiwick or are we a business?
Interesting.
Are we trying to turn a profit here or are we going to take the hit, take the loss, but make sure that we're running, to all intents and purposes, a shuttle bus service? And that's what it needs to be. That's what it needs to be. It needs to be something simple enough to say, we're going to do 4 rotations a day to Guernsey and 2 rotations a day to Southampton. And if they're all full, let's do some more.
Yeah. But that's the problem, right, is that there's often been, whole planes where you're just the only one. You're literally the normal plane. So you can see how that's going to cause a problem. So if the demand comes in, the supply will follow. And that's always how it is. And so over the last decade, you've had people decide, oh, we'll go to Spain this year instead. In fact, we're not going to go to Alderney for the 6 weeks. We're only going to go for 2 weeks.
Yes.
And without those shoulder months, and then also, dare I say, the winter season, we have to keep that demand up. And the biggest problem I see is that there's so much good stuff going on Alderney, but it just doesn't get marketed.
Alderney is wonderful in the winter, and Alderney is wonderful any time of year.
It's amazing.
Maybe not February. February's not my favourite. But, it's a short month. It's okay. I find that our community spirit, our volunteers, if we didn't have people that cared so much about Alderney to put these events on, it wouldn't exist. Alderney wouldn't exist without the volunteer brigade and their amazing events that they put on. But it's so hard to get people to understand how they need to be promoted. And then it's even harder to get people on board to say, okay, yeah, we're going to come to your event. So you need longevity in these events. You need to build a momentum. And 3 years down the line, you're going, well, nobody's turned up and I can't afford any more time on this. And it's so difficult. It's so hard. And I feel for everyone that puts so much effort into Alderney. You also have a group of people in Alderney that will say, oh, we don't want to tell anyone about Alderney because it's our little piece of paradise. don't tell anyone Alderney exists.
Yeah.
And it's this beautiful catch-22 situation where actually, yes, we need the tourism, and yes, we love the tourists, but maybe only for X amount of time a year, maybe let's limit it to maybe 500 people at a time. And do you know what I mean? It's sort of, this is our best kept secret, and we don't want paradise to be spoiled. But if we want to still live on paradise, we need to let a few people in.
Yep.
And if we're going to let them in, then we need to make it affordable for them to want to come back. I mean, my childhood friends, my current friends, most people I know have come to Alderney by chance. It's been one of those sort of strange summers where they accidentally sailed in because it was a safe port, or they were flying and they couldn't get into Guernsey, so they ended up in Alderney, or it was all by chance, or a connection, or somebody knew somebody and they said, oh, come and stay in Alderney for a weekend. And these people, 30, 40, 50 years later...
They're still coming.
They're bringing their kids. They're bringing their grandkids. And that's what we need.
Yeah, yeah.
We need that to continue.
But this is it, right? So, like, I don't think that we'd ever not go to Alderney. The real question is, why would you ever move to Alderney?
There's lots of good reasons to move to Alderney, but I think you have to make it what you need it to be. When I finish here in London, hopefully I'll have made good contacts, I'll have some work under my belt, and I'll be able to be a voiceover artist, or I'll be able to be a singer, or I'll be able to have some sort of work where I can work remotely in Alderney. So Lee's going to build me a shed,
a
soundproof studio,
yeah,
so I can produce stuff and I can create stuff without having to traipse up to London back and forth all the time. I have to make that work for me if I want to live the lifestyle of living on a small island.
Because you're not going to go to the job centre, right? There is no job centre.
There ain't no job centre.
There ain't no jobs around here. You got to make them, right? You got to make them. But this is it. I got to say,
it's a local job centre.
The only thing that bugs me about potentially ever starting a business in Alderney is that the internet's shocking.
Okay, so I use the internet a lot. I think most people nowadays.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, what did we do before the internet existed? Were you even born before the internet existed?
I was born in 92, so
no, it was probably around.
I remember dial-up, you know.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it was good. But this is the thing, yeah. So
I'm waiting 3 hours.
As a video producer, I'm making. I don't shoot in 4K. Everyone's like, "Oh, you got 4K your videos." I'm like, "Oh, amazing, great." 4K for me is it's a big file size, but what's an even bigger file size is slow motion. So when you see those videos that are all shot in slow motion, I can guarantee you that the video producer of that has gone through hell to get that to you. And so these video cameras,
quick content.
This is very, very quick stuff because it's just normal. When I'm shooting like adverts for people, the file sizes are so big, and I'll get clients say to me, they'll be in Manchester, I'll be in London, oh, just Dropbox me the video, and I'll sit there. Last night, I'd finished a 24-hour upload that I couldn't move my computer for 24 hours.
You would be able to do that in Alderney?
That would have taken about 2 weeks in Alderney, and that's the thing, is that even in London, we can't even get super speed broadband.
Yeah, so how are we going to do it on an island?
How are we going to get in Alderney?
And this is another contentious issue in the sense that there are people on the island saying, well, we're working on it. and the thing is, I worked for the States of Alderney. I know what it's like in the inner sanctum.
You've seen the inside.
And I have no doubt in my mind that these people are working incredibly hard to get that done. But you go round in circles. You're waiting for a law officer to change a law. You're waiting for Guernsey States to make a decision. Or by the time that's happened, the state's members have changed. It's been 4 years.
Well, that's another subject, Alex. Jesus, states. I don't think people.
You're going to get me in trouble, Cammy. I'm never going to be allowed back to.
Do you know what? Actually, we do have a flute of doom, right? And I've not brought it out yet. But if you wanted to change the conversation, you're supposed to blow the flute.
Oh, is it a flute or is it a recorder?
Wait, let me see if I can find it. Let's have a quick look. Do you know what?
Secretly hoping there's no flute.
Here's the flute, right? So this is the change the subject flute.
Oh, I feel like, Gene Wilder in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory goes... Oh, it's not very good.
That's it. So, but no, I do want to talk a bit about the States of Alderney because it's really interesting. If you're from the UK, you understand party politics, Labour, Conservative, Greenpeace, whatever.
A lot of my new friends in London don't understand why I don't vote.
Right.
So we don't vote because, and a lot of my friends that I've made in the last couple of weeks here, they don't understand why Brexit doesn't affect us so much, or why why we're part of Britain, but we're not part of the UK. So that's a very strange.
Or part of the EU.
We're not part of the EU.
We're not
either.
part of the EU.
No.
And that's the first strange thing. The second strange thing is the fact that we have 10 states members.
Yes.
Who don't have parties.
No.
So they just have personal beliefs.
You just get in on personality or on a great manifesto, or sometimes you
Do
just...
they even have a manifesto?
Yeah, some people put manifestos out. Most people do.
Wow.
Sometimes you just get in through sheer good luck because you were the best of the bunch.
Right.
I think anybody that wants to be a states member is a saint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody that wants to put their head above the parapet, because that used to be... in my job, I used to have my head well above the parapet, and I couldn't think of anything that I'd like to do.
You don't even get shot. You just get every day someone just knocks you on the head 5
just like
times.
with one of those hot teaspoons.
Yeah, it's like one of those Japanese torture. You just like death by water drops. You're just like, No, and it's commendable, job to do in Alderney, because obviously it's not a massively paid job. You do put your head on the line.
Wages.
I went to one of their states meetings, right, at Christmas time, and I saw them. I mean, it's so funny, right? So it's like a court type thing, right? They all sit around the table. You know exactly what it's like.
Oh, did you go into the court?
I went in there.
To a proper states
meeting.
meeting?
And I kind of sat there for like 3-4 hours, and one of the states members was asleep.
See, and everyone has a go at them in Parliament for doing that.
Exactly, but more importantly, they're getting shit done, and I was a bit like, wow. I was like, they're actually going through the motions, and this was Stuart Trout's one of his last ones, and it was a joy. It was a joy to see what a president actually does. You look at Trump, and you look at Boris Johnson, you think they're just faces.
Stuart Trout over Donald Trump, please.
But this is the point: is like they have a job to do, which is to take all of these things you have to talk about them, and then come up with an action. Yeah. And to see that happen was so boring. It's like, congratulations on just sitting there and doing this X amount of times a year.
It's so difficult. Their hands are constantly tied. And I used to work for the States, and I'd be in meetings with regards to tourism and marketing, and you'd be sat there with the States members for that committee, and they'd say, right, well, this is simple. We just do this, this, and this, and then it gets fixed. And I'm going, well, that sounds great. I can facilitate this, this, and this if you think you can fix it. And then the chief executive would sit there, who knows the insides and outsides of everything.
The CEO, though.
Yeah.
There's a CEO of Alderney.
Yes.
How mad is that?
Who oversees the civil service. And so he would be like, it's a great idea and I love it, but actually your hands are tied on this, and you need Guernsey's approval for that, and you need a law officer for this. And before you knew it, you were back at square one going, okay, so is there an alternative solution? No. Right, let's put that to bed and start again with something else.
It's such an interesting political dynamic over there, isn't it? But like, if we can't even sort ourselves out there, I don't see how all this Brexit stuff's going to sort itself out.
We provide a lot of money to Guernsey with regards to our gambling commission and things like that. It's fantastic, the money that Alderney is making, and I think not enough gets shouted about with regards to that. But we could go on about the 1948 agreement. We could go on about a lot of things with regards to the relationship between Alderney and Guernsey. And I'm not educated well enough on that.
But you're a Guernsey girl. You're a Guernsey girl that's grew up in Alderney.
I was born in Guernsey. It does not mean that actually, ironically, I was born in Guernsey, but I have no right to live or work there.
Interesting.
I pay my taxes to Guernsey. I was educated in Guernsey. No, I'd have to buy on the open market. I'm not regarded as a local.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
How can you be regarded as a local in Alderney or in Guernsey?
In Alderney.
Or just let anyone in Alderney?
In Alderney, you can come buy a house tomorrow, yeah.
Amazing. So you buy a house in Alderney, you move there, and then what's the other benefits of living in Alderney? There is
20% tax.
Is that 20% personal tax,
yeah.
And then I believe it's about 10% corporation tax?
I think so, yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's not much. And obviously we don't pay VAT.
Wow,
That's
no VAT.
pleasant.
Okay, excellent. What else? You're selling it to me.
Honestly, I feel like I should start singing the theme tune to Only Fools and Horses. No income tax, no VAT, no capital gains, no inheritance tax, all that sort of stuff.
No inheritance tax. Shh, don't say that. We're in London right now.
Come to Alderney, quick.
No, you know what? This is actually probably one of the things. I remember working with a real estate company who explained to me why London was such a terrible property market.
Oh Lord!
And it's because of you can pay any amount of money for anything in London, like a shoebox. And
then you've got that whacking percentage on the top.
Yeah.
It's evil, isn't it?
You think if people found out about Alderney, you think.
I don't know. I have high hopes that things will get better, and I'm constantly reminded that there will always be a reason to be moaning about something.
Yeah.
And
of course.
the reason why I think in Alderney, we're so lucky that we've got something to moan about that's so trivial.
Yeah.
Really, in the grand scheme of things, the airline is still going. Okay, it's not its best,
not perfect,
but the airline is still going. We still have a way to get on and off the island-ish. It's not brilliant, but it's happening. We've got the most amazing community. In the grand scheme of things, on a day-to-day basis, my biggest worry in the day is, what am I going to have for dinner? Where shall I walk? Which beautiful, unspoiled, sandy, white sand, turquoise sea beach shall I walk my 2 dogs on today, where I won't bump into anybody else? You know, these are the biggest issues for me.
But listen, this is the thing, right? Is that we talked a little bit about how they just want to preserve what they have, and community is probably the biggest thing, right? Community, the nature, the
wildlife, the history. I mean, the history of Alderney is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The only place in the British Isles to have housed a concentration camp on British soil during World War II. I mean, people don't know about this.
I did history at school in the UK, and it wasn't even in our curriculum.
I did history at school in Alderney, and even we didn't talk about Alderney history.
Wow.
It's not part of the curriculum, so they're not going to teach it.
Why is that? I mean, there must have been some cover-up after all. And not a cover-up. I know a lot of people say...
I think we'll never know the full extent of what happened.
I think it's just got to do with the fact that genuinely after the Second World War, the last thing we want to talk about is what bits of the UK were taken over by the Germans.
And it's very important in Alderney that we recognise what happened there while we were evacuated. I think it's very important, even more so important, to recognise the fact that Alderney would not be there now if our community, if our people, if our ancestors hadn't come back. They could have turned back up on Alderney and gone, it's too devastated. The Germans... Sorry, not the Germans.
The Nazis.
The Nazis.
The Nazis.
The Nazis.
The Nazis. They came,
occupied
they saw,
Alderney,
and they destroyed the place.
They wrecked the place. Also, Britain bombed Alderney.
Yeah.
HMS Rodney gave us a good old battering because, you know, we were Hitler's Atlantic Wall. We were. Alderney is historically so important because technically we're the only real Channel island because we are in the Channel. The others are in like the Bay of French something. So it's very exciting for us to be such a prolific island. Roman history.
Neolithic.
The stuff we're digging up.
How did the cavemen get there?
The Iron Age stuff that they found in this last dig. Amazing. I mean, it gives me goosebumps to think how incredible and prolific Alderney is. Mm-hmm. I'm so desperate for more people to know about it. I'm so desperate for it not to change.
Well, look, I think nothing's going to change quickly, and I think that's what we all know. It's going to be a very, very slow. It's an evolution, not a revolution.
If you're looking for something 1979-ish,
head
there now.
Yeah, for sure. But this is the thing. So I've been doing some work recently with Visit Alderney, and I'm really thankful because the team in Visit Alderney now are, let's just say, they're being left on their own a little bit more.
Totally.
Which actually gives them the ability to go and make the mistakes themselves and do whatever they want to do, and they are getting there.
You have to find your feet in something like that. I was very lucky in my time there. I worked my tiny tits off, and I loved it, but it made me poorly. It was hard work.
But I must say, when you were working there, that's probably the time when social media was least known by other people, but you're the expert at it.
Really changed.
It's like you're talking Chinese to these people and they're just going, yeah, well, we need a new brochure and it needs to be this big by this big. And you're like, okay, you know, and I completely get it. But right now we've just made a series, like a web series.
The content is so essential.
We are going to be producing a lot more content on Alderney. And this is the thing. So I made a vlog on Alderney like nearly 2 years ago now.
I was in it.
Yeah, you closed the vlog. You spoke about how the thing about Alderney is that your friends are your currency. And I think that really was like, this should be the strap line.
It's so true.
It was
amazing,
I
nicked that off someone as well. It wasn't even my line.
Alex, where did that come from?
Gareth Hughes.
Damn it.
Thank you, Chubbs.
Thanks, Chubbs.
He said it once, and it really resonated with me because I know people on Alderney that are multi-millionaires. I know people on Alderney that haven't got a penny to rub together. I wouldn't think twice about having every single one of them around my dinner table all at the same time. We have parties. We have nice house parties, and I've got 50, 60, 70 people milling around my house. Someone that's collecting the bins versus the island president. You know, we're all the same. We all have the same love for Alderney. It doesn't matter who you are, where you've come from, the fact that you found Alderney, you're one of us.
Yeah, it's like a private members club.
It does feel a bit
it does
like that.
it does feel like that, and you feel like you're part of this group where no matter where you are in the world, if you need help, there's someone who can help you.
That's the amazing thing about Alderney. I've moved to London. I've been here for 2 weeks. I've had one night in 2 weeks.
Because you've seen Alderney people.
I have been out every time with people that I have a connection with to Alderney.
That's it.
I've heard that you were. I've heard that you were in London. Can we meet up? It would be so nice to see you. Can we have an Alderney event? Can we have a get together? I'm like, well, that's how we know each other.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is the thing.
Great.
So I remember growing up as a kid, so we had a house in Southampton and the house in Alderney where we would, obviously ferry ourselves to back and from 5-6 times a year.
At least.
And so whenever we used to get fogged in Southampton, we used to have the Alderney suite.
I used to love coming and staying in the Alderney suite.
Yeah, it was like the spare bedroom just called the Alderney suite because anyone that got delayed in Southampton, you'd sort it out, right?
It was just so easy. It was such a great time when I first knew your parents because, when you meet someone and you think, these guys are so our people. They're so the right bit.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have that with a lot of our friends that come to Alderney on a part-time basis or on the occasional holiday, and before you know it, they've sold up, they've moved to Alderney. A lot of our close circle of friends have relocated full-time to Alderney in the last 10 years.
Yeah. And is it not inevitable that we'll just all end up there?
Oh, I hope so. It's the happiest retirement village in the world.
It really is, isn't it? And I think it kind of scares. So my girlfriend Nina, she, we talk a lot about what we want in life. Everything. I'm like, I'm gonna be in Alderney. Yeah, I'm gonna move back to Alderney. And you kind of get this feeling that's like, whoa, are you sure? But for me, it's such a certainty. I'm just like, why would I not want to be?
There is no doubt in my mind that I will spend. Hopefully, if I get good and old. Yeah. That I will spend my final years in Alderney. All my family are there, all my friends are there. It's such an easy, lovely, happy place to be.
It really is.
Right now, I have no doubt in my mind that I'm sticking in London for a bit. I love it.
How has it been? So you come from a little island and you've just ended up here in the busiest city ever.
I love it.
It's crazy, this place. It's like nine different cities, basically.
I love it.
Yeah?
I love it.
Brilliant.
I don't feel unsafe. I mean, I'm pretty sensible.
I mean, Alex, I've got to admit, you in Wimbledon.
Yeah.
That's not exactly the most
Coming
dangerous
to visit you
place.
Today in North London has
it changed your perception a little bit of London?
I saw my first used needle on the floor today.
Yeah, there's some dirty stuff around it. I mean, look, there is an issue around it. And
but in the same vein, I saw my first squirrel yesterday. So, it's like peaks and troughs.
You know what? But the thing is that the community is here.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, so we live. This is a warehouse with 17 other warehouses.
It's amazing.
It's about 300 people in this gated community. We have the same kind of, love and friendship that we have in Alderney.
Yeah.
We have people over all the time, so you get your little groups together. How are you finding your groups in London? Because they're not obvious. You don't just walk into a pub and see the same people. You have to be proactive.
You absolutely have to be proactive. So before I even moved to London, I found a yoga class that I wanted to join.
Brilliant.
So I've got my first yoga next week. The lovely thing about the university that I'm at, which is BIM, in Fulham, BIM London, they put on all these extra masterclasses. So this week,
cool.
I'm going to be mixing not just with my classmates, but with other people on the course that have got similar interests to me. I'm learning the bass.
Okay.
I'm excited about that. I'm going to a masterclass on Monday with Pete Smith. He's like a Grammy award-winning producer who produced The Police, Stevie Wonder.
You're doing it.
I am totally doing it. You have to put yourself out there, without doubt.
Yep.
I came 2 weeks ago. Lee, my husband, came with me. I was fraught. I was absolutely fraught. I was happy to be in London, but I was like, no, I've made a terrible mistake. I'm going home.
Oh,
I was
the blues.
teary. I was like, Lee, I was like gripping onto him for dear life. He left on Wednesday. Off he went in his Uber, which I think is amazing, by the way. I had my first Uber the other week.
No way.
Got really excited.
It's
Squirrels,
cool,
Ubers.
Wow.
I heard a fox, and honestly, I'm like reeling. Little country bumpkin girl, loving her life. And he left, and I was fine. I'm absolutely
Alex, you were
fine.
more than fine. It must have been that feeling the first time you were left like home alone. You're like, okay.
I was just, oh, no, I have to do this now.
And then you went to the shops, right? You picked up some dinner. And you're like, ooh,
I went to my very favourite Marks and Spencer's.
Marks and Sparks,
And,
darling.
I love it.
Jesus.
Oh my lord.
I know exactly how you feel because I mean I felt like every place that I've moved to, a new place, you get this feeling like
It's totally daunting, but
yeah.
I said to you before, I just feel like all my ducks were in a row with coming to London. Your mum always has this lovely phrase that she says to me, and I'm sure she must say it to you a billion times. What's for you won't go by you.
She says that a lot.
Yeah,
she?
which is basically the Welsh version of que sera, sera.
Yeah.
But what's for you won't go by you. And I just felt like, not that it's all like, oh, it's destiny and it was meant to be, and, the psychic vibes were sent to me. I just felt like all my ducks were in a row. My mum's not very well. I didn't want to leave her. She's on some new medication. She's rocking and rolling. I'm like, oh, mum's well enough. I think I can go without worrying.
Amazing.
Lee was totally supportive.
As always.
As always, he's just been brilliant.
He's amazing.
Was totally supportive and was cool about me going. My friend Sarah then said, well, come and live with me and I'll do you a deal on rent and you come and live with me. It's 4 stops on the tube to university.
Amazing.
And I'm just going, this is nuts.
And which line are you on now? What's your?
I'm Circle and District.
Circle and District.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yellow and green.
Yeah, no, that's a good line.
It's nice.
You want to stay away from the Bakerloo line,
really?
Yeah,
is that brown?
It's the brown line, yeah, and the train.
Stay away from the brown kids.
You know what it
Just
is
say
though?
no.
It does remind me of our little train on Alderney, because obviously our train on Alderney it only goes one stop to the quarry and back.
But this is the hilarious thing. Our train in Alderney is 2 tube carriages.
Right.
So I'm sat on the tube going, are we just going to the quarry in Alderney? What's going on?
Let's go to the quarry. Oh, I absolutely love it. So this is it. So you just started BIM.
I've started at BIM.
What are you going to be doing at BIM? What are you actually studying?
The course is called Vocal Performance. I've been a singer for all my life, obviously. I've been singing since I was in nappies. God, don't you hate it when people are like, I've just sung all my life. It's like the only thing I can do.
Well, no, but the difference here is that you've grown up on Alderney, where singing is part of the culture, right?
It's totally a thing for me that I've always wanted to be a singer. I went to university the first time round. It didn't work out. I wasn't in a good place. I didn't like the course. I didn't feel happy. I'd met my husband and that was it. Then I was like, my brain is elsewhere. I'm not doing this. So I followed my heart and went home. And now I'm in a position where I can say, okay, let's try this again, but let's do it right. And I found a really, really good course. A lot of my friends have been to the BIM institutes. There's one in Brighton. There's one in Berlin now. They're
cool.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just thought, is it too late? Am I too old at 35 to go back into education? No, clearly not. I'm going to go at it with as much energy as I can muster. I'm going to try not to drink all the kids under the tables. Snake bites,
anyone? Yeah. And what is it you want to achieve then over the next year in London?
I would really, really I'd love to come back in a year's time. This will be like tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be. In a year's time, I'd like to come back and see you and say, yeah, I did it. I want to be a voiceover artist. Whether that's reading books on Kindle, whether that's being the lady that says, at the 7th stroke, the time will be, whether it's, please mind the gap. I don't mind who I get to be. I don't care if it's doing an advert on the radio for Carmart. I want to be working professionally as a voiceover artist. I think that's my realistic goal. My middle realistic goal is to be a backing singer. If I can get some work doing harmonies is my thing.
Interesting. So you don't want to take the front?
I'm not interested in being the lead vocalist. I've been the lead vocalist in many bands for 15 years. I've also been a very big fish in a very small pond. I now have to really...
That's the Alderney effect,
I have to sing for my supper now. I have to really put myself out there.
So Sting... Sting,
maximum
mate.
goal.
Seriously, mate.
Maximum goal
Get
is
in
to
touch.
sing with Sting.
Yeah.
Even if it's just.
But look, you're in the right place. You know, that's the thing. Is
The
that the
contacts
law of
you
attraction is
make.
it's happening.
Yeah.
It's going to come to you. And here's the thing. So there's a very cool bar in Camden called Spiritual Bar.
The Spiritual Caipirinha bar.
Yeah, so you've heard of this because you know Rob Hunter, right?
So we've got this really weird 6 degrees of separation connection.
Yeah.
That's so strange. So Robert J. Hunter, brilliant blues singer, Alderney boy, from our island.
I think that's nuts.
Isn't that weird?
I mean, I was literally there a couple of months ago and I was recording a late night podcast with them and he was there and I saw him and he saw me and we kept looking at each other like really strange. And it wasn't even until I saw you that I realised who he was.
Yeah, it's Rob.
Yeah, crazy. But that Spiritual Records, you know, it's very different to other... Have you been there yet?
I haven't been yet, but I'm going to go as soon as Rob's playing again.
You will love it. It's completely different to every other bar and place to go in London. It really is. The owner, Raf, who is this Brazilian, like, just doesn't care about, like, you know, the capitalist, like, view of nightclubs. And he wants to make this a folk and jazz, bar. I mean, it is, for all intents and purposes.
I'll come and sing your harmonies. Give me a backing vocalist job, please.
You honestly spend enough time there and you will just find everyone you need. Like, the talent that I saw there, and bearing in mind, you know, growing up in Alderney, like, we see really talented people, but Jesus.
But that's all it is, isn't it? It's not even... There's talent... And then there's being in the right place at the right time.
Yes.
And networking is the only way forward.
Absolutely, yeah.
The people that you get to meet at BIM, the people that I know just through Alderney, you know, the fact that Rob is on the Spiritual Records label now and he's just doing so well for himself. But he's working hard to do that. If I can be a session musician, I'd be chuffed. If I can go home in a year's time and say, I had a ball, I'll be chuffed. It doesn't matter at this point. The fact that I'm just here and doing it is enough right now.
But that's interesting because, you know, and I don't know if you find this, but coming from Alderney, coming from a place where everything's so fine, everything's great, you get this sense that you have so much support and safety around you that there's a risk that you're not quite that bothered if you want to follow what you want to do.
I'm worried that there's not enough fire in my belly. Yeah, because I've got that beautiful safety blanket of saying,
I'll go home.
I'll go home and I'll run my little choir again, which
the choir.
I would love to go home.
What are they doing without you, Alex?
I've had a couple of messages saying, so Wine and Song isn't on anymore, so I'm just drinking wine and singing in front of the telly. I'm like, that's great, keep going and I'll be back next year.
Bless.
The thing is, there's nothing wrong with your ambition being, I want to go home and run a community choir. There's nothing wrong with saying, actually, I'm going to go back to Alderney and take everything that I've enjoyed and learnt and put that into the community, be it in the care home, singing with the people in the care home, or taking it to the local school and singing with the kids at nursery, or saying, actually, let's give it another year and see how much further we can progress.
I like it.
Let's see who we can meet. And let's see if this changes our lives. And in the meantime, we'll keep playing the lottery and hope for the best.
That's it. Well, this is the thing, is I feel that there's a lot of pressure on people these days to pick a big goal, pick a big dream and follow it. And
it's that X Factor generation, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the 15 minutes of fame vibe.
But no, it's not quite X Factor generation. Stars in Your Eyes, you know.
Like,
there's that like instant glory, that instant, you know, gratification is definitely something that our generation has to deal with. But it's one of those things, right? If you know that I want to be a musician, I want to be a singer, then law of attraction says you do enough of that and you will fall somewhere among the stars.
Absolutely.
So when you look back, it will look perfect.
It
will look like your road will be.
Of
course it does, but this is it. If you look back at all these big, like big singers or big, they always kind of look back and say, "Well, I mean, it looked perfect, but while I was doing it, it wasn't like I didn't say that I was going to do this or say that I was going to do that. It just happens, right?" So that's it. You're in London now. You know you've got this desire to sing with Sting. I think that's my big goal. It's one of those things, right? It's like if you keep saying that, I promise you, Alex, it's going to happen.
But even if it is, I got to sing with Sting because we were both at a party.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
he got up. Sting, if you're listening, I know all the words, I know all the harmonies. Please just let me do it. I promise I'm good. I promise.
Sting, come on, lad.
Sting.
Come on, Sting. And by the way, if anyone out there knows someone that knows Sting, whether that's through his security or his management, get this lovely lady, Alex Flewitt, on your stage? Because Alex, I've seen
anything
you...
but a restraining order would be perfect.
I've seen you bring the house down many times in Alderney with many different bands. This is the thing about Alderney, right? So Alderney has a huge music scene. I say huge. It's not. It's huge for us who go and see you. It's not massive, but it's...
I'm surprised on an island of such talented people, we don't have more music going on. But the music that does happen is so brilliant. I love it.
It's unbelievable. So tell me about your experience in bands in Alderney then.
So, I mean, I was singing jazz when I was doing my A-levels, and that's where I thought I wanted to go with it. So I was singing with like Guernsey Jazz Orchestra, and I was playing my saxophone, and then it turned into, oh, did you know that Alex is a bit of a singer? And I'd sing in like local pantos or in shows with your dad and stuff. So end of Alderney week, and we'd all get up and we'd have a little bit of a jam. And harmony always came naturally to me. I listened to everything. And I was having a discussion with one of my really great mates the other night about ultimate guilty pleasure songs.
Ooh.
Literally, it was so embarrassing because I showed him my Spotify most listened to, and he was like, there's a lot of Phil Collins on here. I was like, I'm really sorry. Please don't judge me. He's like, is that Celine Dion? I was like, I'm so sorry. And it's like, hang on a minute. Why am I being embarrassed that I listen to this stuff? I'm listening to everything. I'm going to San Francisco. I'm going to see The Who.
Ooh, wow.
I listen to everything. Robert Plant. I'm excited about any music. I will listen to anything and everything, but I will stick a harmony on it.
I like it.
That's all I'm interested in. I want to put a harmony on everything.
Well, look, I have to say, growing up with a father who is a folk singer, I was a little bit strange. Like when I started seeing you perform, and with all due respect to my dad, you know, I love him. I love him.
That man.
But his vocals aren't exactly like, you know... he's a performer, right? He's not a singer, he's a performer.
Sure.
He keeps the audience entertained.
I think that's a very good way of putting it.
That's how he says it to me all the time. But it's nice because suddenly you get this sense that music is about more than just sounding good.
Totally.
It's about feeling good, right?
And I've spent 15 years being lead singer in a covers band. I've got a mate and we've started doing some indie pop stuff. We've got a little band called Factor 50.
Ooh.
And we recorded a little music video in Alderney, and we recorded this song, and it was great. And I went into the studio. It was the first time I'd ever done anything original. I've constantly been a covers band singer. And the lovely thing, but also huge detriment of being a covers band singer is you don't ever make the songs your own. If you're in a covers band, people want to come and hear you because they want to hear the song that they recognise.
Yes, yeah.
If they're coming to listen to Proud Mary by Tina Turner, they want to hear a fair to middling version of a Tina Turner imitation.
They don't want to hear you butcher it.
They don't want to hear you butcher it, but they don't want to hear your take on it.
Right.
They want to hear the song that they know.
So go on, Alex, get back in the bag and just start singing it as we know it.
I've spent 15 years imitating the songs that I'm singing, imitating other, which I think has probably been of huge benefit to me because I can sing songs like other people. I can sing in different accents. I love doing dodgy accents.
Give us some accents, Alex. What's your favourite?
My favourite accent of all of the accents is Geordie.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Welsh, but...
Oh, well.
I mean, because you do that naturally, right?
Well, all my family are Welsh, so it's very easy to be Welsh. So give us a
Geordie. What's...
You're a lovely lad, but you got trouble written all over your face.
Oh, aye, man. Ooh.
Isn't it fun?
Have you been to Newcastle?
Never. But Sting's from Newcastle, so...
Oh, my God. Sting, we are going to come back to you. Interestingly, Newcastle's starting to get on the map a little bit.
Yeah, it's picking up, isn't it? It's getting that Manchester vibe.
Yes, definitely. Oh, Manchester, can you do Manchester?
Manchester.
All right, mate. Fucking Manchester, mate. You know what I mean, mate? Liverpool.
I'm going to see Liam Gallagher, actually. All right, la, how's it going?
How are you?
I'm a Scouser from Liverpool, like.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Welsh?
The best Welsh is Nessa.
Oh. The valleys.
Oh, what's occurring?
What's occurring?
What's appertaining with our omelettes? I absolutely love accents. So doing all this for 15 years, being out the front and being the lead singer, and you got to wear the pretty dress and you got to wear the high heels and you got to put on the show and you've got to be bopping, and you can walk into a room and you'll have been booked for a gig and people aren't into it. They're there for the wrong reasons, and you have got to get these people on their feet. Because it's all good and well. We could come out and sing for ourselves. And I've seen many an artist, who shall remain nameless, come out. You've paid a lot of money. You've paid a ticket to see somebody. And they play for themselves. They don't play for their audience. And I'm like, hang on a minute. I've bought that ticket. I've paid you my money. I've come to hear your greatest hits. What's going on?
Let's do it. Yeah.
And they don't give it their all. And I appreciate it must be exhausting for them, but then don't do it.
But it's great because that confidence that you've developed over time, I mean, it's come through these hard times, right? When the room's quiet and when,
You have to just pull your knickers up and get on with it. If you've got some on. I always have my knickers.
or take a few drinks. I mean, there's something that I noticed.
No.
But Alex, like half of the bands on Alderney are drunk all the time. Like, so I mean, do you not
Maybe
drink
in the bands
excessively?
you know.
I mean,
of course I drink excessively. I'm from Alderney.
As a vocalist singing in a band, is that a big no-no?
So dangerous. Because and I've learnt this the hard way.
Okay,
And this is the lovely thing about being in university now with all these kids, and they're like, yeah, but I need a few drinks for my confidence. We all need a few drinks for our confidence when we're going to go on stage. I will have a couple of glasses, or I'll have a glass on stage, but I have, to my detriment, had drinks beforehand, and then you get up and you're like, for me as a singer, the biggest fear is they've started the music. Charlie's there on his guitar, twiddling away the intro. Derek's smiling at me, going, "What key's this in?" And I'm going, "What's the first line? What's the first line? I don't know what the first line is. I don't know what the first line of the song is. I don't know what's happening. We're nearly there. This is the last bar of the intro." And then you go, and then it all falls out. It just comes out of your mouth naturally. But don't get drunk before you sing.
And that's not even stage fright, is it? That's just like
words. My brain's gone because I had too much to drink, and now I'm thinking about having had too much to drink.
But I've seen you on a few occasions, mask the odd forgotten word.
Oh yeah, we make the lyrics up
because you love it, right?
I love it. It makes me so happy being on stage, getting out there, being in front of people.
You make people dance. You make them move.
I don't get any nerves.
No.
And people say to me, "Oh, don't you get nervous before you get on stage?" And this is the lovely thing about BIM. First class on Mondays, performance.
Brilliant.
Get on the stage and sing this song and do that. I'm like,
Let's go for it. And they must look up to you thinking, how the fuck is she so confident at this
stage? And that's
stage?
the thing. You've got to be very careful to find a fine line between confidence and cocksure, because I don't want people thinking, "Oh, that cocky bitch thinks she knows everything," and I don't, which is why I've gone back to university.
Yeah, but look, I mean, you got to be yourself. You got to be yourself, and if that confidence eventually allows you to go up to Sting and be like, "Sting, let's do this."
Sting, mate, here's my business card.
Exactly.
I should get some.
How do we do this these days?
I
don't know. I think we need to figure out a very inventive and creative way of getting this to happen.
I think Sting probably. I think people of that ilk are probably put in touch with people or hear people that think. I mean, Sting's so diverse. He uses so many different people. He goes through so many different styles of music, and of course, I think that I'd be a good fit for him because I'm an imitator, so I can make my voice sound a bit like his, because he sings quite high register, that I can make my voice, when I stick a harmony on it, it would be as immaculate as it could be. And that's the whole joy. 20 Feet from Stardom. I don't know if you've seen that documentary, 20 Feet from Stardom.
I've not seen it, no.
That's got
Sting?
one of Sting's backing singers in it, Joe Lowry,
I see.
who is an incredible Australian singer. I mean, I haven't got a voice like hers at all. Oh God, I'm not selling myself to Sting.
Well, look, why don't you just invite him to Alderney?
I could tweet him and say, "Fancy a trip to Alderney?"
Come to Alderney. Look, Sting, if you're listening, Sting, no one's going to bother him.
No one actually would bother him at all.
They wouldn't even know who he is. It's like...
That's the lovely thing about Alderney.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a celebrity.
No.
Nobody's remotely interested.
No, it really is that, isn't it? And maybe this is the thing, right, is that, I mean, Alderney, for all intents and purposes, is 2,000 alcoholics clinging to a rock.
That's the tagline, isn't it?
That's the tagline.
That's the strap.
But at the heart of it is the ability to be who you want to be, and you take it at such a slow pace. I'm surprised more celebrities aren't just sneaking on and off the island.
I think the private jets are probably too big for the runway. I don't know.
Sting doesn't want to sit on a boat as well, does he?
No, let's not make him.
No. Let's not make him. Let's get him on a helicopter.
Okay, I'll see what I can
that would
do.
be cool.
Sting.
Well, so obviously, I want to talk a little bit now about Alderney Week.
Yes.
Because I'm currently making a documentary at the moment called Alderney Week's All-Time Gala Greats. And so the gala night, for those people listening who don't know what it is the most serious amateur dramatics in the entire world, which is the one night every single year during Alderney Week that the island kind of comes together and puts on a variety show made up of sketches, sing-songs, all sorts of stuff.
It is community entertainment
at its finest.
at its interestingest.
It's unbelievable, Alex. It really is unbelievable because we've grown up, part of these, and it's safe to say that you, Lee, and my dad really kind of like.
I mean, it's Lee and Ronnie mostly, but I've been involved since my first gala night. I was 6.
I think you pushed them, like obviously knowing that you and Lee.
I just wanted them to write me something funny so I could show off on stage.
And I think they felt much younger because of you, which meant that they're not worried about jumping on a ladder.
Well,
or
that's
like
Lee's
doing
famous
anything crazy.
strapline. Oh, Lee, how do you stay so young? I just rub a 35-year-old on my face every day. Cheers.
But that's it, right? So you sing the songs that we all know, but you change a few of the words. You make it more about Alderney. There's often a few political jokes in there and jokes about the airline and jokes about.
We're very rude about people.
Absolutely.
We're terrible.
But it's all in good faith, right?
It's totally tongue in cheek. It's all in good jest. We've never had a complaint. Actually, we did have one complaint once from a very lovely local Alderney character called Colin Murfitt.
Oh,
and he complained one year because we hadn't done a joke about him.
Oh, no way.
He was so upset. So the following year, Lee had done something like, this guy Colin, God rest his soul, he's not with us anymore. But he was proper local, used to trot around in his cut-off jeans, denim shorts that he'd made himself, just that and a pair of shoes. And he was always getting himself into like dodgy schemes and scrapes. He once made some Alderney cognac called Aurignac.
Ooh.
Yeah, don't drink that. It was a very straight. He was a lovely, lovely man, totally mad and brilliant. And so Lee was just like, would always make sure there was a Murfitt joke in the shows. And then after he died, we dedicated one of Lee's pantomimes entirely to Colin.
Amazing. And
made sure that there was a Murfitt joke. So
do you know, I absolutely love that, and that's the thing, right? Is that there's been a few deaths recently in Alderney and a few funerals, and you get this sense that when the community cares for someone, it's not the last you hear about them. They sit in the pubs, you hear stories and stories. You hear things that you never even knew about that person, only when they're gone. And it just shows you that the community in Alderney really do love each other. It's a love, like, it's like everyone's a big family.
Well, this is the thing. So Lee and I would say, it's another one of the great Alderney characters gone. And I go, hang on a minute. I said, it's another one of the great Alderney characters gone. But let's just think about who's coming up that's going to be the next generation of great Alderney characters. There will always be someone in your community that is unmissable, unstoppable, totally nuts.
And do you know what? I like to think of this like Lion King. In Lion King, they look up the stars and they're like, this is where exactly. And the stars in Alderney are so bloody clear that you look up, you're like, oh yeah, there's him, there's her,
That is the worst thing about London. That's the one thing about London I don't like.
You can't see the stars.
I was at the Globe Theatre on the South Bank last Saturday to see Sting, and I was really close as well. I was like, and I saw his daughter and I saw his wife, and I was like, Sting. I was at the Globe Theatre, and of course the Globe has no roof, so I thought, oh God, isn't the Globe Theatre just absolutely incredible? What an amazing space.
Stunning.
And it was this amazing concert called Peace One Day, and there was Jack Savaretti was there, and Will Young, and Basement Jaxx, and Emily Sandé. There was loads of great people, and Sting, obviously.
Amazing.
And I looked up at the sky, and I looked up at the Globe Theatre, and I thought, wow, there's no roof on this theatre, and isn't it incredible? And Shakespeare and woo. And then I went, what? Where the fuck's the stars?
Where are the stars at? They're just not there.
So angry. I was like, who took what?
It's annoying. It is annoying because I don't think people truly appreciate it. Like, when you say it to people, they're like, oh no, I'm from Devon and I see the stars. I'm like,
no, mate, you don't see the stars. Come to Alderney. We'll talk about Dark Sky Island. Now, Sark, our near neighbour, has Dark Sky Island status, but their pollution. I was told this by a very prolific astronomer.
Ooh.
That Sark light pollution is worse than Alderney's light pollution because Sark is closer to Guernsey and there's a lot of light pollution that comes off Guernsey. Yeah. But we're actually probably even better dark skies.
Oh, I have no doubt about it. I remember doing the was it the Millennium or the solar eclipse?
Oh, lunar eclipse. Solar eclipse.
The solar eclipse.
1999.
And I remember, do you remember Jamie Theakston?
Yes, I do.
The breakfast.
I'm not going to say anything bad about Jamie Theakston.
He's a lovely guy. I absolutely loved him because obviously, so when all these news crews.
He was very rude about Alderney, Cameron.
I know. Well, here's the story, right? So we had all these different news crews come over to Alderney in '99 for the solo clips because it was the best place in the world to see it.
Well, we were right on the path, weren't we?
It was unbelievable. Jamie Theakston's there, right? I'm like, I don't know, like 9, 10 years old.
You were a bubby.
I was a bubby. And I see this guy and I'm like, oh. So I go up to him, right?
Because he was Kids TV when we were young.
He was Kids TV. And I was like, hello, Jamie. And he turned around with a cigarette in his mouth. He was like, oh, hello. Yeah, hi.
Hello, little boy.
Yeah, hello, little boy. And then my Auntie Liz went up to Jamie and said, he looks up to you. You shouldn't be smoking cigarettes around him. And I was like, oh my God, have a go at him. But yeah, he wasn't so nice about the art.
I think it was unfortunate.
There wasn't a 5-star hotel.
It was a bit like when Sandy Toxvig came and they took her to a bunker party and she was like, yeah, I never want to come here again.
But that's amazing though, because the bunker parties are prolific. You know, I remember Slipmatt and Ramos, who are probably the biggest people we've had in the bunker party.
That was mental.
For anyone that's listening, they do that song that goes like this. I said, hey. Hi, asuma sahina sida hey, da da. So they're like proper, like, you know, techno drum and bass. Well, no, this is the point.
I love drum and bass though.
Well, look, here's the thing: is that these guys were like massive in, I believe, the '80s. So my half brother Ben saw them in.
Did he know them?
He knew them. He knew them. And because I was filming a video for the Bunker Party guys at the time, I was running around. I was like going behind, you know, the DJ decks and stuff. And my brother, who is like, you know, 40 something, he in his peak, he was a massive Slipmatt Ramos fan. So he comes with me behind the DJ set, and you should see his face. It's like it would be like you looking at Sting.
Yeah.
And he just stood still. And I'm like, yeah, enjoy, you know, whatever. Anyway, so Slipmatt and Ramos had an amazing time. They played the most amazing set in a German bunker with all of the, you know, the Alderney crew there.
It's unbelievable.
And then about 6 months later, I'm working for JBL doing this, like, you know, festival tour. And I see Slipmatt, I think Slipmatt was playing on one of the stages. So I'm like, you know, I've got my little press pass, so I like jump up on the stage and I'm like, hey, do you remember Alderney? Right, and Slipmatt looks at me and he goes, best gig I've ever played, mate. I was like, oh my God.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but do you think he just says that when anybody says that?
Probably. To
be fair, it would have been a pretty hefty gig for him.
Well, look, the reality is that it's in a German bunker. You know,
it's off the scale, weird.
It's just weird, yeah. And there's no pressure. That, you know, you haven't got any, like, you know, artist liaison people in a green room.
No, it's like, do you want a tin?
Yeah, do you want a tinny?
Do you want a tin of Breeder, mate?
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
do you want a Bavaria?
Yeah, Bevs. It's amazing though, isn't it? And you know, Alderney has, for all intents and purposes, had a lot of celebrities visit in the past, right?
Okay. Let's talk about Alderney Celebrities because that is my kind of gossipy topic that I love. Oh my God.
Tell me, who's you reckon the most famous people that we've known to be on Alderney?
Well, I never saw her on Alderney, but I suppose one of our biggest celebs of the day was, blimey, Mary Poppins herself.
Hello.
Julie Andrews. She lived on Alderney for quite a long time.
I know.
I know her daughter really well.
Right.
They live in Sag Harbor now in Long Island.
Wow.
New York, somewhere like that. I don't know. New York way.
Wow.
And
Miss Mary Poppins.
Miss Mary Poppins.
It's amazing, isn't it?
That's just gorgeous.
Eliza Beresford, Womble's creator.
Elizabeth Beresford, what an amazing woman.
Amazing.
She created the Wombles. She even named one of the Wombles Alderney.
Amazing.
I mean, she's legend, total legend. Also, made the best cheese straws I ever tasted.
Yeah. No, she was lovely as well.
She was a lovely lady.
She was so lovely.
And now I live in Wimbledon, so I'm always like wombling around thinking of her.
Oh, that's amazing. That really is nice.
Am I making this up, or did Mike Batt turn up at her funeral in Alderney dressed as Great Uncle Bulgaria?
I heard a rumour about that. I think so, but she would love that. She would absolutely love that.
Mike, what are you doing, mate?
But she was massive, like, and this is the thing. I don't think anyone, like, because she was children's book author, right? So children's book authors don't tend to, unless you're JK, when you know, get turned to a movie or whatever. The Wombles were huge.
The Wombles were mega, and they still are actually. Right. There's still people still remember them and talk about them. They're bringing the clangers back. I reckon we'll see the Wombles like for a third or fourth.
I reckon there'll be a live action Wombles movie.
Let's do it.
It'll be like Harry Potter.
Let's create it.
Well, let's see with visual effects these days. I mean, you know, I mean, you remember when the Wombles used to come out on the buttes? Like, you know, the suits,
I love
the
the
Womble
Womble
suits.
suits.
You know, and you're just like, whoa, let's all clean up. Yeah, they're cleaning up.
Womble
Like,
up the rubbish.
it's amazing how they
and
get
put it
kids
in the
to
bin.
do all of the work that
I just think it's
cleaners should do.
hilarious.
It's brilliant. Who else have we had then?
Well, I've spent all summer with the very lovely gold medal Olympic winner,
Mr. Goodhue.
Mr. Duncan Goodhue.
Amazing.
Who is an Alderney
superstar. Absolute superstar.
Won gold back in the 80s in the Olympics. And
Amazing.
I've spent every day this summer swimming in the sea with him.
I love it. Wow, has he taught you how to swim?
He tried. I said, Dunk, the problem is... Dunk, babes.
My boy Dunk.
Dunk, babes, the problem is... I don't want to stick my face in the water. And he's like, that's kind of a requirement for front crawl. I'm like, yeah, Hans, I'm just going to do like 7 breaststrokes.
That's
and then
incredible.
I'm going to get out and have a sandwich.
You're swimming in the sea, you know?
Yeah, freezing cold.
Jesus.
I love it. It makes me so happy.
Wetsuit?
No.
No wetsuit. No. And so what's Duncan doing at the moment?
Duncan is he's busy with lots of he's got lots of business stuff that he does, and like he's directors of lots of charities and things like that. But he swims in the Serpentine most days. So if you're in London and you're swimming in the Serpentine, go and find him there.
People swim in London?
Yeah, he told me the most horrendous story about at a certain point in the summer in the Serpentine, you can swim in the Serpentine, but there's lots of ducks in the Serpentine, and the duck poo contains a parasite that can get under your skin and then cause welts.
What's a welt?
Like big raised lumps on your arms. I was just like, thank you very much for inviting me to swim in the Serpentine. I'll see you next summer in Alderney.
But that's the weird thing, right? I mean, sometimes when you look at the water over here, you're a bit like, you know, that's not a place you want to swim. No. Even in Alderney, sometimes I'm a bit like, ooh, you know. It's interesting. I watched a documentary that was made in the 90s, and I cannot find it to save my life. It's about radioactive waste in Bray Harbour.
Oh, God. Oh.
Yeah. And there's a team of scientists on the Dougie testing the sand and saying it is more radioactive than Chernobyl.
Did you watch Chernobyl, the TV series?
I thought it was amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we live on Alderney. We live very near to a nuclear reprocessing plant. We're just 8 miles away from.
I can see it from my room.
Hague.
Yeah.
And I remember being a child and being genuinely petrified. You could open the. I remember them talking to us about it at school one day. What would happen? You know, this is the 80s. What would happen if you heard the alarm go? You know, the.
Oh my God.
Like the proper war
alarm.
Do you
know what you do though? I don't know, get to the Georgian
maybe? You're
maybe?
not going to hide under a table, are you, from nuclear attack? The thing is, if there was a radiation leak, oh God, and I watched that Chernobyl TV series, and I was just...
God forbid that ever happened.
You used to be able to open the front of the phone book, and there would be, like, what to do if you hear the nuclear siren. And I'd be going, I wouldn't sleep. I was so scared of it.
What would you do? I mean, there's nothing you can
Close
do.
all the doors and windows. Hope that you've got a stash of baked beans.
And a bottle of wine.
I think I'd try and get off the island as quickly as possible. Good luck, Aurenie.
Imagine that.
I'd go to the pub.
Yeah, to the
pub. I'd go to the pub and I'd find all my mates and say...
wait for all this to blow over.
We're off to the Winchester.
Yeah, that's it. But this is it, because you can see the nuclear power station on Alderney. It's only, 7 miles away from...
Yeah, 8 miles, yeah.
I mean, and that's amazing, right? Because you look at it, you're like, oh, this is lovely, you know. And as a kid, you always get this imagination.
We are so close. My friend jet skied to France one day.
No way.
He said, right, I'm going to just jet ski over. And he got there. He was fine. He had enough petrol.
I love it.
Forgot his passport. They wouldn't let him in.
Classic. Classic. I mean, but this is what we love about Alderney, right? Is that you can get to France. You get to, get wherever you really want.
It's convenient.
It's close to the UK. Like, it is close to the UK. And I think people kind of... more people in London, I think, have access to Alderney than they'd really think because of the Guernsey... Gatwick route.
Totally.
And I think that's the thing. So I might even be, if let's hope the Southampton route still exists, but if it doesn't exist, it's, Gatwick, Guernsey, Alderney.
Yeah.
400 quid later. Let's just hope I'm really rich so that I can just pay for me and all my friends to come to Alderney.
Just going to keep playing the lottery. No, well, you wouldn't need to do that then. You just get yourself a nice little plane.
Yeah, but even the little planes, we have a few people who have planes and stuff, but they're not like jets, are they? I mean, they're just kind of like propeller planes.
We'll build our own Alderney.
Hey, I heard some rumours about the airport having getting some kind of expansion. because apparently the airport we have was a temporary. It was a temporary airport that was only supposed to be there.
It's literally like a Guildway, our airport. It's made
like a
just
shed.
like MDF or something. It's the weirdest, cutest airport in the world.
I love it.
They've upped the security now, but we don't have a scanner.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
you can't scan your luggage to check if you've got anything dodgy in there. So you just hope that you've packed all your clean knickers somewhere nice and you've done it all neatly. They open up your suitcase, have a look and go, yeah, that's all right, and close it up again.
I love it. And they always say to me, they're like, Karen, did you pack this yourself? And I'm like, I know, they're all folded up, aren't they? It's like, yeah, it's my girlfriend packed that for me. Because they just know that, like, all of my packing's just chuck it all in and you know, get on with it. Do you remember when they put up the wall to the runway used to be, like, you know, shoulder height and you could sort of wave people
When
in.
I was a kid, you used to just be lifted onto the wall.
You sit on the wall, right?
My friends got married and I don't know how this happened, but at the end of, they had like an early reception and then they went up to the airport and they were going straight off on honeymoon. And everybody went up to the airport and we all got on the tarmac and we were skipping around the plane as they were about to leave.
Madness.
They were going apeshit. But
well, those are the good old days, right? You know,
health and safety doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
it's taken over now, isn't it? The one thing I remember growing up in Alderney was the video shop that used to serve ice cream.
Reader Fusion.
Yeah. And I don't know where I can get a Mr. Whippy from in Alderney anymore.
Mr. Whippy, probably not.
You know.
But my favourite ice cream of all time, Toffee Crumble.
Yeah.
Toffee Crumble from Tommy's Gift Box by the Georgian.
Oh my God, Tommy!
So for years, I couldn't find a Toffee Crumble for love nor money. I just thought they've gone out with the 90s. I'll have to get over it. You can still get a knobbly bobbly. You can still get a fab.
Yeah.
Where's me Toffee Crumble? Went to Australia. Put the TV on in my hotel room in Australia, and there was an advert for an ice cream called a Golden Gay Time. And I was like, what is this Golden Gay Time you speak of? It's Toffee Crumble.
Wow.
So if you're in Australia, please eat 75 Golden Gay Times for me right now.
And I love the fact that it came from Tommy's, because Tommy's was the cutest little shop that, I mean, it really wasn't a shop.
It was smaller than this whole area.
Room. Yeah, exactly.
It was a cupboard.
Yeah, but Tommy was amazing, right? You know, and this is the point. You grow up on an island like that, you get these connections with people. I've got a really strong feeling that people growing up in Alderney have a very different attitude to life. You know, even people that maybe go there once a year or something. Like when you meet Alderney people in London, you get this sense that they're really embracing life. They're able to talk to people no matter what, and we're so thankful for that.
And you're so good at communicating with people of all ages.
Yes.
From teeny tiny humans to people in their 80s.
Absolutely.
It's the same difference.
I'm not afraid of telling off an old person who's too drunk. Which, like, God forbid, like, some younger person comes up to me.
I live with a too old person that's always too drunk, so I'm very good at telling him off.
And all you do is put your hand on their shoulder and say, look, calm it down a bit, all right, you know, okay, sorry. I remember one time I walked into my living room in Alderney and there was just some random guy sleeping on my couch.
Who was it?
Do you know, I can't remember his name, but he just walked into the wrong house. He was just really drunk, and he was like, oh, sorry, this isn't my house.
Small island community.
I was like, that's all right, no worries. Do you want a cup of tea or coffee?
In your house.
Yeah.
People stealing your car to drive it down the road to get to a party.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many amazing stories, and you could write a book about this. But the one thing that I'm really excited about is this all-time gala great, right?
Yes, let's talk about that.
So I mean, genuinely, it's my dad's got all of the footage from gala nights over the last 20, 30 years.
I'm so grateful for your dad for making a record of all of that, because there are so many people that regret. I'm taking more photos, and it's like such an easy thing to do in this generation. You know, smartphone, blah blah blah. I'm so glad that he took all those videos of gala night.
And it's all on like tapes and stuff, but essentially he's put it all onto like DVDs and all this kind of stuff. And every time I come home, he always insists that we sit down and watch these gala shows.
I'm so jealous. Can you invite me next time, please?
The problem is, Alex, is that he just skips through them because he knows that there's like so like 30 odd years of it. He's just going, and we're going, Dad, just leave one on, leave one on, leave one on. So in my head, I was like, what we have to do is we have to make a, you know, almost like the toys that made Christmas, but like a countdown of
the top 40.
Yes, exactly. And we're going across all the different categories, so the props, the scripts, the things that went wrong, all that kind of stuff. And of course, we've done your interview. We've interviewed about a dozen people now on Alderney.
It was so lovely to talk about it and reminisce a bit.
Yeah, because you were in some of the best acts I've ever seen. The Jaws one was one of the best.
The movie greats. Singing Celine Dion for the Titanic sketch was probably one of my highlights.
That's great, wasn't it?
Because I love to do Celine. I love Celine. She's my favourite person. Celine, thank you. I love Celine Dion impersonations, so that was hilarious.
But it wasn't just Celine Dion, right? You did everything over these. Phantom was one of the best.
Mega. My favourite was probably Sleeping Beauty, where we sang. I can't remember what we sang actually. It was Somewhere from West Side Story, and Glyn, my lovely friend Glyn, pulls my hand. Hold my hand and I'll take you there, and he grabbed my hand and my arm extended across the entire stage.
Yes, of course.
That's the lovely thing about being a performer, hearing the audience react to that, just hearing the laughter.
Well,
and at the time, you're too busy performing. So when you watch it back on the video and you hear people laughing.
But so here's the interesting thing. So Dad's always said that the reason why he puts a light over the audience is so that he can see their reactions. And that's the number one rule for him, is that he has to be able to see. I have
to make sure people are enjoying it.
Yeah, because it's almost like you know that what you're doing right now is a little bit silly.
Yeah.
And you know that it could be taken a little bit wrong. But you also know that if you work with this audience correctly, they will be pissing themselves laughing.
Sounds like life, really, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. But this is the secret. This is the secret sauce to Alderney. It's like a ping pong match. We're forever reading other people,
and
we're
riffing off them.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's not just I'm here, amazing. Like, take me for what I am. It's like, how are you? What are you feeling? And that's what I love about Alderney. Whether it's performing, the Georgian with your band, or up on stage at Garden Night, you just get this sense that we just love seeing each other and taking the piss.
And then we stopped. We stopped doing them because we stopped running Alderney Week.
That's literally because the old boys thought that they had enough of it.
To be honest, I think we'd got to that point where we'd kind of had enough. It wasn't even that we'd run out of ideas. No. We were just a bit knackered.
Yeah, just needed a break.
I genuinely thought we'd never bring it back again. Really, really, truly, I never thought for a second. And then your dad said, "Garden Night, we're going to do Garden Night," and I was like, "No, Ronnie. No, I'm not interested. I don't want to be involved. You knock yourself out. I'll sit in the audience and I'll laugh my tits off for you. But no." And of course, there I was up on the stage. And it felt so good.
Right?
To know afterwards, especially when all the reaction from everybody, that our community had come together again and said, "Thank you for putting something community-based, community entertainment for our island."
It was packed
again.
As well, Alex, and considering that we used to do it on the big stage, and this one was considerably smaller.
Yeah.
And of course, I remember just arriving for this summer, and there was a Greatest Showman outfit hanging on my door, and I'm like, "Dad, what's this?"
You were amazing.
I MC'd the
You were top notch.
But you know what's annoying is that usually the MCs are like, sorry if I offend anyone, but slightly old and slightly, and I kept thinking, am I at that age now where,
this is all you're good for now. You can just introduce acts.
Yeah, exactly. But I love that. I was in the Georgian about 10 minutes before that.
Yeah, we all were. Backstage wines.
Yeah, but that's what I love about the backstage of Garden Night, is it's not like, people running around with like, "Oh, here's this, do your makeup." It's just like, no, wine. Give me the wine.
Yeah.
Here's some
wine.
Has
anybody got the wine?
Where's the wine? Where's
Louise,
the cup?
It was so funny. Ellis and Louise Downs turned up, and Louise was busy playing Posh Spice, reprising her role as Posh Spice.
Poshy.
And she turned up with fish and chips. And nobody was getting ready. We were like, "Okay, 10 minutes till showtime. 10 minutes, everybody. Yeah, hang on. Have I just got time to whack in this fish and chips and a pint of wine? And then I'll be right with you."
That's it. Well, look, I hope we're going to bring it back for more. I know that, Dad and Lee, and we all enjoyed it, right?
Lee's writing is genius. Ronnie Cairnduff's delivery is hilarious. I think the two of them are just like the dream team for me.
Amazing.
Lee has written so many great plays, pantomimes, songs, sketches.
Well, because it's not all the silly Garden Night stuff where it's like, written, you read it once, you go on stage, you might mess up, but that's part of the thing. There is some serious stuff as well, right? So the pantomimes and
the pantos,
the theatre group,
the Alderney Theatre Group is 70 years old. Wow. We existed before we were evacuated from Alderney.
That's incredible, right?
In the war, yeah. So it's a big deal that it keeps going, and the lovely thing about doing these community projects like Gala Night, like the pantomimes, is that finally we're getting younger people getting involved.
Yes.
And I can already see the next generation of the theatre group stalwarts, that they're coming.
They're coming up through the ranks. I love it.
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
I love it. Well, this is it. So obviously, Alderney is a very special place for us. There's a lot that could be done. Hello, 1, 2. There's a lot that could be done to the lovely island. We're going to just try and... testing, 1, 2.
Yeah.
We're going to try and keep this island as amazing as it always has been.
I hope so.
What do we need to do now in order to keep people happy? Because I'm really concerned that we don't have enough identity within like the values that we hold dear. So we know that the community matters. We know that
we need to Doctor Who the crap out of this now. We need to regenerate.
Ooh, but I'm thinking we need like a 10 commandments. I feel like we need
the Alderney rules.
The Alderney rules, yeah, and something just beautiful that just says what it is we all respect and we love. Because what I don't want is to see is the same people talking about the same problems and like turning that into the island chatter.
And in the same vein, the same people doing the same things for our community.
Yeah.
We need more community involvement, and we need people to be more proactive about stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And volunteering their time and their opinions.
Eventually we will go back there.
Yeah.
And
we will.
Yeah, and no, I honestly, I wish you all the best in London, because when I first moved here over a year ago, I know how you feel. It's like a complete breath of fresh air, and there will become a lag where suddenly you're going to say yourself...
At the moment, I feel great. I know that it'll get to the middle of November, and I'll have a week where I don't have any plans. There'll be something that really pangs at me, and I'll want to go home. I know that will happen. I know that will come, and it'll probably come much sooner rather than later. I've just got to keep my shit together. You
got to keep shit together. And I mean, up there on the wall, I have a picture of Alderney, and I keep that there because I know that's my home, and if anything bad happens...
it's always there.
It's always there. It's always there.
And if Boris Johnson gets Brexit through, I'll be off back to Alderney.
Yeah,
I'll be an illegal immigrant. So I'll be off back to Alderney. I love it. There is no place like home. And it's ingrained in you. You chop me in half, I'm a stick of rock, and there's just a big splotch of Alderney written inside me. And I haven't abandoned it.
I love that.
But right now, I'm here.
I like it. And you have to go on this hero's journey in order to come back to the start. And So tell me, do you have anything that reminds you of home? Anything personal that you carry with you, or tattoos or anything?
I've got lots of things. I've got a new tattoo actually recently, but it's not an Alderney tattoo.
Well, it sounds...
It is and it isn't.
It sounds like...
It's
it's a pineapple,
It's
right?
a pineapple, yeah.
Okay,
It's
a welcome to London.
It's a welcome to London tattoo that I had done by Sharon Surname at Tattoo 13 in Soho.
Shout out.
Amazing.
I love it.
Yeah, go there. Go and see Sharon. She's
amazing.
Scottish.
Scottish?
She's Scottish.
Wow.
She's
How many tattoos have you got?
7.
7.
Lucky 7.
Wow. Where are they? Where's...
I've got Sting lyrics on my wrist.
Oh my God. Shout out to Sting, by the way. Sting or his team.
I've got Sting lyrics on my wrist. I've got some little musical notes there, so when I hold the microphone when I'm singing, it looks kind of cute. I've got one on my back, one on my ankle. I've got a David Bowie Ziggy Stardust flash on my ribs. Yeah,
because of course you are one of the biggest. I say one of the biggest Bowie fans. You and my mother are probably
after your mother. I am the number one David Bowie fan.
Yeah.
My dog is called David Bowie. That's how much I love David Bowie.
But isn't it interesting? Tell me, have you seen Rocket Man?
Yes, I have.
Oh my God, Alex, I cried.
Loved it. I saw it in Alderney Cinema.
Oh, even better, the best cinema in the entire world.
In a tiny little, very uncomfortable, too small for my big fat bum seat. It was great.
Yeah, Rocket Man was amazing, right?
Taron Egerton.
Oh.
Wow.
How wrong. Get him in the Alderney Theatre group. Jesus.
Yeah, I wonder if he's free. Elt. Good old Elt.
Yeah.
What a ledge.
I know, right? Do you know,
what a diva.
I was at Cannes Film Festival when it was premiere, and obviously I didn't get into the premiere Rocket Man, but Taron Egerton's there.
Did you see Elton
John? Yeah, they're all up there on the red carpet. It was absolutely packed and everything, and I really wasn't an Elton John fan at all until I watched Rocket Man.
See, I was brought up on Elton John because my mum's favourite is like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. So,
but listen, I listen to it every day now. I actually listen to the Rocket Man soundtrack.
Yeah.
So not
What's your favourite song?
What's the one? The first one. I want love.
Oh well, that's a relatively recent Elton John song.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen the music video of that.
No, I haven't.
It features Robert Downey Jr.
No way.
Yeah, he's in the music video. He sings he mimes the words.
Incredible.
And he's walking through like corridors of this big building. It was just after he came out of rehab, out of prison.
I love it. Do you know what? And that's the thing I love
good.
about these movies. And there's obviously the Bohemian Rhapsody movie.
Loved that too, but for a completely different. It was a completely different vibe.
It was,
and I'm so glad that both films were completely different because.
Interesting enough, though. So the director of Bohemian Rhapsody was Bryan Singer, who was the X-Men director, who he got fired from the film 2 weeks before they finished production.
Orcs.
Very awkward legal case going on anyway. And the director that took over was the director of Rocketman.
Yes.
So he directed both films. So technically, you almost get this sense that there is a difference, a fundamental difference, and that Rocketman felt a lot more musical, break out into musical, and Bohemian Rhapsody
had to be. The thing is, it's very different because Freddie Mercury is dead. Elton John is not. God knows how, because those drugs.
I know, right?
Elton, woof. Let's have some more Coke. But Bohemian Rhapsody was such an epic thing. It had to be as true to life as possible.
Yes.
Rami Malek.
Amazing.
Guy. Could you imagine if Sacha Baron Cohen had done it? It wouldn't have been the same.
It wouldn't.
Because the problem is he's too characterised as Ali G now. It's just Borat and stuff. So it was just beautiful. The guy that played Brian May was more like Brian May than actual Brian May. How does that happen? It was epic and amazing, and I loved it. And you have to be true to that because Freddie's not here, and so they have to be as loyal to the fans as anybody else.
But that's it. Like
Elton's here, so he can be jazzy.
I didn't even know much about Freddie Mercury either, And this is my point: is that actually when the Bowie film comes out, my Jesus Christ! I'm
gonna slate it.
Well, yeah. Okay, so give me your who would you want to play David Bowie?
David Bowie.
David Bowie plays David Bowie.
Yes.
But David Bowie.
There is nobody. Then don't make the film.
Oh, don't make it. Isn't that funny? Someone's gonna make it, Alex.
I think actually I saw Lazarus, the musical for David Bowie, and oh my God, my brain's gone. I can't remember what his name is. The actor that played Dexter, Michael. Flip. Anyway, him, he'd be good. There's no one for me. There is no one for me.
Like Bowie himself was, and I think this is different to Freddie Mercury and Elton John. He was a performer. Tell me, have you seen? Christopher Nolan's film about the magicians.
Not the illustrious.
But with Christian Bale.
Yes.
With bloody. It's
brilliant.
Yeah, and David Bowie.
Yeah, isn't he gorgeous?
Playing Tesla.
I know. It's so
I heard the story about this, which was basically that David Bowie's a massive Christopher Nolan fan.
Mega.
And
he wrote to Ricky Gervais and said, "I love extras. Can I be in it?"
And that David Bowie.
Have you seen that episode of Extras? See his pug nose face. Pug. The man's a god.
An absolute god. And he's taught, I guess through my mum's love for Bowie and listening, because I have listened to Bowie.
You've been brought up some good music.
Oh, absolutely. But it's that passion and that love and not taking himself too seriously. I think that, I don't know much about Freddie Mercury or even Elton John, and I guess both of them share similar traits, but it's something about being a performer that you just say, you know what, fuck it. Just
and
do it.
They became legends in their time, and people say, "Oh well, music's too commercialised now. You haven't got time to become a legend." No, there are still legends that are coming through the ranks now that will be the mega legends that we all love. I'm going to see Barry Manilow with your mum next year.
No way, good old Barry.
Such a fanalow. I can't wait to see his little face right now.
Well, look, now that you're in the city of culture, I mean, like
I'm
London,
seeing everything.
Yeah, you're gonna have a very.
And
busy
that's the thing.
schedule.
It all rings around to guilty pleasures again. There's nothing that's out of bounds. Last year, I saw David Byrne from Talking Heads perform. His show, visually stunning, musically even more stunning. I stood there with my chin on the floor for an hour and a half. But in the same vein, I'll go and see John Mayer, then I'll go and see the 1975, then I'll go and see Celine Dion, then I'll go and see Barry Manilow. I think you have to submerge yourself in everything that you want to see, and don't ever think for a second, oh, it's not very cool to go and see X, or it's actually, I need to go and see X because they're really trendy. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do what you love, do what you like. Do not let anybody judge you for what you're deciding to do. Go and live your best lives.
And I do like that. And I guess recently I've been trying to find, so I have a personal coach that helps me
like development.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So I started working with him when I was running my marketing business, and now I've started a new business. It's a lot lower key. I'm not trying to change the world here. No. I'm just trying to create a little business that I do podcasts for people, right? Cute. Very, very simple stuff. So my personal development coach has been really helpful with me looking at my entire life, right? So we split up to home, work, and play. Right. What's my home life like? What are my goals? Waking up every day, whatever, eating. What's my work life goals? And, what do I like to do for fun? And so one of the things I realized that I cannot go to the gym unless I have a reason to be fit. So there's no point in me working out unless
you need a goal.
Unless I'm playing a sport, right? So I thought, why don't I find sport, right? So I went to karate a few months ago and I did a bit of karate. Yeah.
The
thing is, I liked it because it was disciplined. I used to be in the Army Cadet, so I like the whole respect and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I moved here, I thought, well, I'll find a karate place around the corner. I love it. Karate. I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
That's not the same, right?
It's not the same. No. And
is it offensive or defensive?
It's like wrestling mixed with like I'm just going to rip your head off if I can,
offensive.
or snap
nice.
your arm, or your wrist or your foot. And so the first time I went to this place, like last week, I walk into this place and the trainer says to me, "Oh, it's your first time here." I'm the first time here. He says, "All right, go put that gi on, like the like the dressing gown." Ish. And,
not rub yourself in gear.
Yeah, it wasn't like get your goose fat out.
Okay.
No, so I went over to the coat rail and I put on this beautiful gear. It was like really nicely ironed. It had a lovely black belt. I was like, this is amazing.
A black belt.
And I walked back onto the mat and he says to me, it's like, everyone's laughing. They're like, that's my gi. And I'm like,
with the black belt.
I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay. So and the one he was then pointed at was covered in blood, and it was all just like creased and everything. Yeah. Anyway, I get back on the mat, and suddenly some like ultra heavyweight like gets me in a headlock and tries to yank my head off. No. And I was like, no. So 3 days later, I decided that I'm not going to be doing that for fun, and I will find another outlet.
I think you actually accidentally walked into Ultimate Fighting Champion or something. That sounds.
Yeah. I mean, it's not fun, but it's about trying these things. Right, you got to try these things just to see if you like it or not. So I think the next one, I did a bit of salsa as well with Nina. I took Nina to
Cameron. That's very romantic.
You know what? We've got this little date night thing.
Girls love to dance.
You know what? And it was great because we went to Queen of Hoxton, actually, shout out in Shoreditch,
whoop, whoop.
And they're fantastic. I think they do it 3 times a week, and you basically you get with a different partner. Every like 5 minutes you change over.
Yeah, switch.
So you go there like on a date or
so
with
it's
someone.
social.
Super social. Some people are really awkward though, and I do get this sense like for people like us. I'll look you in the eye, I'll dance to you.
Yeah, damn straight.
Some people are like, I'm not going to look you in the eye, and
I'm just going to look at my feet.
Well, not even your feet. Like, look up there. You're like, what's up there? What are you looking at? But this is the type of thing that you can now do on a regular occurrence. You can go anywhere in London and you can try a new thing every week. So I do encourage you to do that.
I will.
Just to try and you meet people, you figure out what you definitely don't want to do.
My new thing next week is trip to San Francisco.
Wow.
Week after that, my new thing is go to yoga class. I already do yoga, but yoga.
New yoga.
And then the week after that, gig with Sting.
I like it.
That's what I'm aiming for. So
like
three weeks.
Yeah, amazing.
That gives me.
Tell me, have you been to San Francisco before?
I have once.
Amazing.
I used to work for this very bizarre company based in Scotland where you could buy a square foot of land for £30.
Of course.
And you could become a lord or a lady. I'm not going to tell you the name of the company because I don't want to promote them. But I used to be on the TV a lot for them, telling people about Scotland.
Yeah, and you went to Australia and see.
I went to Australia. It was very ironic how it all happened. But unfortunately...
And you did San Fran then as well with these people.
I went to San Francisco I didn't really have... I was doing lots of radio interviews and TV stuff. I didn't have a chance to actually see San Francisco. I saw Mrs. Doubtfire's house.
Oh, amazing. Oh, I've been to San Francisco before. I got my tattoo there. I got the grid coordinates of Alderney. I got it done in San Francisco. But yeah, I mean, good luck there because
Well, I'm really excited. I'm going to this big music festival, loads of big people playing. I'm going to submerge myself into as much music as I can while I'm there.
Amazing.
Visit my nephew who lives out there.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah, so that's exciting. My nephew, I'm 35, and he's like 28.
You got a big family, it's like,
yeah, that's what happens when you marry an old man.
Wow.
But I'm really excited to just.
But shout out to all those people that have married the person of their dreams, by the way.
Do you know what? And you see, oh God, you see it all the
this.
time, don't you? They make documentaries about age gap relationships.
Yeah.
My age gap is the same as between Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas, and I figure they did all right.
Yeah, do you know what? I think it's amazing. Because like. Do you know what? Like,
he doesn't look 62, does he?
He doesn't look 62.
No,
he really
right.
doesn't. He's a young guy at heart as well. That's the one thing I find about people that live on Alderney is that they drink a lot, they eat a lot, they relatively.
We live a good life. We're young at heart.
That's the thing.
We have longevity.
That's we
live long.
I think it's the mind over the body. Yeah. So like if your mind is constantly active, if you've got the community around you, if you've got like the drama that goes on in Alderney is almost like, sorry, I can't die. I've got to deal with this shit. Yeah. It's like, okay, cool, and they just live long.
It's just a very easy place to be and enjoy and live. Also, I think on average, I mean, our speed limit's 35 miles an hour, so most people aren't getting run over.
They're just not. But it's strange that you don't have to wear a seatbelt there, because in my head I've always thought, yeah, but you still crash the same. Do you know what I mean?
I think we should wear seatbelts. I know a lot of people that choose to, but mostly because they've got modern cars now, and the seatbelt thing
we don't have seatbelts
kicks off if you don't wear one. I never wear a seatbelt.
No, me neither. But like, that's the thing. That's the joke, isn't it? At the moment, is that like there's 12 people hanging out the side of a moke driving up the street with kids on your lap.
These mini mokes on Alderney, which are basically like minis with no sides. They're just like they've got roll bars, and everyone's just like when we were kids. Oh, another Alderney celebrity, Ian Botham.
Of course, the England cricketer.
Beefy would loan us his mini moke, and when he wasn't on the island, we'd just drive around in his car. And we'd get in the car, and me and my baby cousin, my auntie, would drive us to the beach, and we'd be hanging off the back like monkeys.
That's it. But there's no sense of health and safety, not because, well, first of all, the bureaucracy it's just not there. But second of all, I think people take responsibility for what they do.
I don't think we're complacent by any means. I don't think we're just being risky and daft.
No.
But we'll go and jump off the Douglas Quay, off the end of our breakwater. We'll go and jump off the end of that, and or a big rock. We'll just go and like tombstone.
But this is great, Alex, because like essentially, this is what life is about. It's about if you make a mistake, you learn from it, right? And if we're always telling people not to do things, because we're never going to learn.
We're living in a namby-pamby world in that case, aren't we?
And this is why kids growing up on Alderney right now are so lucky, because they have kids these days do have a much better understanding of everything. They just do. I was in a school last week with a politician who I'm doing some work with, talking to kids about politics, right? And these 16-year-old kids know more than I do.
Oh, I haven't got a clue.
And so genuinely, I know these kids are aware of dangers. I know they are. When you bring a kid to the bunker party for the first time, it's not like you're just like, oh, here's a litre of Pims and go nuts. It's, here's a litre of Pims, now give me some.
Here's a litre of Turbo Pims.
Yeah.
I've replaced the lemonade with champagne.
You literally couldn't be in a safer place to grow up.
It's a wonderful place to grow up. I do worry that maybe our children are a little naive.
Are the ones on Alderney potentially, but thank God for the internet.
Thank God for the internet.
Jesus.
I had never been to London until I was 16 years old.
That's madness.
Yeah, so for me, going to the big city, my mum was really worried about me going, because I think she was worried that,
You're gonna get mugged, Alex.
I drove a car the other day. I've only ever driven in Alderney. I had to go to Guernsey, the next door neighbour island. I drove traffic lights for the first time. I drove roundabout for the first time. In Guernsey? Yeah.
That's not a massive step up from Alderney, is it?
No, but I forgot the first time through the traffic lights.
You just went through them?
I just went through them. But fortunately, they were green, so I was okay. But I hadn't even noticed that they were there.
And what do you think about driving in London? Because
I wouldn't even think about it.
Really?
Wouldn't even... no.
You see, you get these little things like zip cars these days, where you just walk up to a car and you just unlock it with your iPhone, and you can drive it.
And you hire it for an hour or something.
It's amazing.
A bit like a Santander bike.
Yeah. Honestly, it's phenomenal. But I would be really careful. Driving in London is one of those things where you just take the wrong road, and suddenly you're in a whole different area.
I have no desire to get in a car in Alderney, let alone London.
Uber around London.
I'm liking the Uber. I'm liking the tuba.
Tuba.
I'm all on it. So it's lovely that I can see London through fresh eyes.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of people that live in London that want to get out and move to Alderney.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing the freaking opposite. And it's great that it's all fresh and new and exciting. I like taking the tube.
Absolutely.
I don't mind the sardine cram at a rush hour on a Tuesday night at 5:30 going.
But you know what's funny is that you as a performer, as an entertainer, you have the opportunity to brighten up people's day, and there's nothing better than seeing someone on the tube when we're doing the sardine thing who makes a joke.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it maybe twice. It's like seeing a unicorn. It's like you literally see someone make a joke and everyone laughs.
It's a win-win situation as a performer as well.
Yeah, of course.
Because not only are you making other people happy, but that's the whole reason you're doing it, because it makes you happy.
You know, maybe we should set yourself a challenge, which is to speak to a stranger every day.
Well, so far so good.
Yeah.
I had a stranger approach me as soon as I arrived in North London today.
Oh, really? What were they asking?
The first time I'd gone north.
Did they want some drugs?
They wanted some money to buy some drugs.
Oh, well, then there you go. And what did you say to them?
They only wanted 20p, and I said, here's £1.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, knock yourself out.
Feed the habit.
Have an extra MDMA or whatever it is you're having today.
I don't think they do that. That's like some party drugs, right?
I don't know about drugs.
Well, then you have to know that actually. I mean, it's shocking. Some places
probably
in London.
Just for like heroin, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's this new drug called Spice.
That's not new.
I say new. It's not new, but
is it the souped up version
is bad,
of Spice?
You know, like it
ruins you.
It ruins you, and it's really cheap.
Have you heard of crocodile?
Crocodile.
I urge you to not Google that. Crocodile with a K.
No, I have heard of this.
It actually, it's like crystal meth, but
in
worse.
like African countries, it's become.
It's big in Russia, I think. Or Eastern Europe,
Crocodile
somewhere. Crocodile or something, and you waste away.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It disintegrates you.
But who needs drugs, right? When you've got activities and fun
Music
things
is my drug.
That's it.
Love is the drug.
And wine's a pretty good drug as well.
I'm all for a pint of wine whenever, take 1 pint as necessary when you need
that's
it.
what you might not like in London is that, when they come over to you with a small glass of wine and you're a bit like,
Well, the lovely joyful thing at 35 being student discount.
Whoa!
Hello, what's that when
gosh.
it's at home?
I love
student discount. I'm rinsing Oxford Street with my student discount.
Great.
Found some nice little 2-for-1 cocktails.
Have you got yourself a rail card yet?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Good. And are you using it on the underground?
I am.
Good.
Yes.
Good. So third off.
I'm feeling good about that.
Nice. And then you can get around the UK now. You can go wherever you want.
I know. Well, it's great for me to go home when I have to travel down to Southampton. So, yeah, I think it's like £6 or something for me to get home.
Absolutely sorted.
Thank you very much.
I love it. Well, look, Alex,
great.
we're coming to the end of the episode. So is there anything else that you wanted to discuss with my fantastic audience?
No, not really. But if anybody knows Sting,
we need to talk to you.
Your fantastic audience are going to be so young, they're going to be like, who the bloody hell is Sting?
Do you know what's ironic? Is that when I look into my analytics, guess who the audience really is? It's
45.
based in Alderney.
Yeah. It's me.
We should do an Alderney podcast, like honestly, just talk to everyone in Alderney.
Are you coming home for Christmas?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I'll be coming home for Christmas.
Well, then we'll Aldenify it.
Absolutely.
We'll go out. I'll hold the mic.
But this is it. It's like, this is what we were talking about earlier. It's like Alderney's always going to be there. And all I want to do is just do everything on Alderney right now. I was even considering living there. I was considering moving there for a year and doing the Alderney Diaries, which was going to be like a vlog type thing. But the point is, it's just so lovely. It's so lovely. It is so lovely.
I've spent all summer. I quit my job. I had like a mainstream office job. I quit my job in June, knowing that I was coming to London in September. I spent June till September working from the beach, working from the pub, working from my friends' houses, just living the dream. And no matter where you go, no matter what you do, oh God, I've just turned into like Pure and Simple by hearsay. Wherever you go, Alderney's going to be there. Alderney's going to be there. Yeah, honestly, there's a song for every occasion on Alderney.
I mean, this podcast has literally been dominated by music in Alderney.
But that's okay. That's my life.
Yeah, I absolutely love that.
And I'm cool about that.
Cool. So, Alex, how can we follow you, follow your journey?
I am on Instagram at The Channel Island Girl.
Classic.
Because I'm a girl from the Channel Islands.
I love it. And do you have a little line at the end?
No. I'm just
the
at
Channel
the Channel Island girl. And or you can just hashtag Alderney and you'll find me most of the time.
Yeah, so go and check out Alex's journey
to my
in
music.
BIM. Yes.
Or you can listen to my my latest single.
And if Sting's trying to get in touch with you, we'll just give him your number.
Yeah, just tell him to call me.
Your 018182. Yeah.
No, don't ring that. That's
it's a 4-digit number. That's it. But Sting, my number's 4145. So
that's the great thing about Alderney. Everybody just knows 4-digit phone numbers.
That's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah, 4060, mate. 4060.
4060. I love it. Awesome. Well, look, Alex, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'll get you back on the show for sure in the future. Maybe you and Sting can come by.
Yeah, I'll bring Sting next time.
Bring Sting along. That'd be amazing.
We'll play the flute.
The flute of doom. All right. Thanks very much, Alex. Woo!
Woo!
There you go.